That is why every policeman wants to see him as his or her IGP. Master, Alaji. That's how now, mommy, you're crying.
When I met him, I was surprised.
Thank you. You see, humility. This genuine humility. Genuine. And here the fake humility. Yes, he's the one that we want. Now, when you say you will see the outcome of the elections. Do you understand? And he's a true party man. The president is aware because of the way he's being treated. He decided that even Joe Osemusu rather agreed with him that you are a party man. If these people don't want to give you the IGP, because of you, I won't go again. Come and contest my seat, and I will support you to win. That is not what we want. We want him. Constituency, yes, but why? We don't want him as MP.
I see.
Yes, not Tracy, I told you, he's a party man. You see, and the president is aware. I am telling you, this year. You see, it is not only his constituency that we want him to serve.
No.
He should serve MPP at the national level.
Yes. I mean, that's his profession.
That is his profession.
Yes.
He's a lawyer, he's a chartered accountant. He taught me at the police college. Anyway, I got 85. I got 85%. Yes.
Well, it was good or bad?
Oh, this was excellent.
Yeah.
I did well. And when he teaches you, I mean, he has a nice method of teaching. So getting the import of what he has taught you is very easy. This is simple. Simplifies everything. You see? So he's the one everybody wants to see. This man is not a lawyer. He has no fair idea of the law. He has never been on the field. It was NDC that was promoting him day in, day out. When Massa was assistant superintendent of police, he was a sergeant.
You are what?
Sergeant.
I told her
Sergeant. Then NDC brought you this far. Now, what he's bragging about is the fact that he will be IGP to 2030. Because the Mama has promised him if he should win, may God forbid anything. If he should win, he will maintain him as IGP.
There is no plot to remove anybody. I don't know about you. We can imagine things. We have rich imaginations to go on. One thing is certain. 2024 would not be a violent election by anybody, and no one will want to thwart the will of the people.
We need some of you who are very good in IT and other areas to submit your talents and skills to the committee for this work to be done. So I propose that we establish a committee of 7 members. 7 members. Is that okay? 7 members. Leadership will nominate 3 from each side of the House, and we'll get a technical person to add to make it 7. That's why I'm calling it a special committee, so that you investigate this matter and then submit your report. So I await the nominees from the 2 caucuses, 3 each, and then a technical person will also be nominated to assist the committee in its investigation and report to the House. I so direct.
Well, the Speaker of Parliament, Right Honorable Alban Suman Kingsford Bagbin, you heard there, giving that directive for a 7-member committee to be established to look into this leaked tape that has dominated discussion throughout the week. The leaked tape that alleges or captures a plot, allegedly, to oust the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Ekufu Dampare. There are 3 people on this tape, and indeed some of them have been allegedly described as top officials of the NPP and allegedly also a top official of the Ghana Police Service. Because we here also haven't independently authenticated the details and the persons and authenticity of this tape, it is extremely important that the Speaker's directive about the set objectives and then also what this committee, 7-member committee, has been set up to do is what we're going to be discussing this morning. The details of this leaked tape, quite shocking to say the least. It sent shivers down the spine of many, many people. We will talk about it this morning here on Key Point on TV3. Remember, we're also live on 3FM 92.7. We want to hear from you as well. Now, we'll be playing aspects of this leaked tape with this alleged plot to set the conversation as well in a particular context and perspective. Also, the Ghanaians have been divided over this law that allows the cultivation of cannabis for industrial and medicinal purposes. I'll tell you what, Parliament went through with it, but there have been some divergent views and opinions about this particular law that it has eventually been approved by Parliament. We would hear from the various divergent views and opinions on this matter and the concerns that have been raised as well. Also, the minority in Parliament say they are resolute. They will continue to boycott Parliament anytime the three of their colleagues who are facing the courts on various issues appear before the court of law. Yesterday we saw one, but although they did not go to Parliament, a number of them did not find themselves in court as well. So where were they? We'll be joined by a member of the minority in Parliament to find out how long they intend to boycott Parliament, to go to court, or ensure that all their members really are in court if they are not in Parliament. This week, we saw Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa chalk a victory against Reverend Kwesi Boateng, or the other name, who is a secretary of the National Cathedral Secretariat, concerning that particular suit at the Human Rights Court seeking to stop him, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, from publishing anything about Reverend Kwesi Boateng. There's some interesting detail about what the court ruled, which you will be interested in here on Key Point. So these are the issues we're going to be talking about. Welcome to Key Point. Here, talk about the key issues that are of concern to you, the Ghanaian people, and together with a guest, go straight to the point. I am Alfred Akanse. Welcome. We'll be back shortly after this quick break. My guest will join me in the studio. Let's start the conversation. Stay with us.
Discover boundless horizons at Heritage Christian College.
It does get better anytime your favorite shop, Melcom, says it's there for you and got you covered with all your daily need items. Continue shopping on products ranging from groceries, stationery, electronics, homeware, kitchenware, furniture, home decor, electrical, and many more at low prices. Terms and conditions apply. Melcom, where Ghana shops.
Hello? Yeah, is it true that your Adansia 10 Dubai trip on chartered Emirates flight is sold out?
Yeah, you heard right. All 250 seats to Dubai on 10th August are fully booked, but all hope is not lost. There are a few more seats on Emirates for 13th and 15th August, departing to Dubai, with the rates starting at only $1,650.
Great. I can't miss out on this fun trip. Are there any other combo trips?
Yes, we have few seats available on below exciting combo trips. trips: Nairobi and Dubai with Dory Nando, Kigali and Dubai with George Quay, South Africa, Victoria Falls and Livingstone with Lexus Bill, Singapore, Bali and Malaysia cruise with Kwame Dazi.
Wait, how do I book now?
Just send hi to the WhatsApp number 0593 857 002 or call 0556 310 404 or visit AdansiTravels.com. All bookings from now till 25th July will get free pass to Adansi at 10 Gala Dinner in Accra.
Awesome.
It's a vibe.
Are you ready? This will be another exciting episode of Ghana's Strongest, and this coming weekend we find ourselves at the Fitness One Gym at the One Airport Square here in Accra, bringing you an eviction episode of Ghana's Strongest. 9 men will stand, but 8 will battle it out to get into the next episode of the season's Ghana's Strongest. It means 1 man gets evicted. Who will it be? 4 different challenges, 2 novelties. It will be exciting. So catch this episode on TV3 this Sunday at 4 p.m. It will be fiery, it will be exciting, it will be entertaining. So let's see who goes home this weekend.
Catch the new season of Ghana's Strongest this Sunday at 4 p.m. only on TV3. Ghana's Strongest is powered by Gasem, the nation builder. Brought to you by Mixi Choco, Channel Hot,
Deluxy Acrylic Paint,
Drugnet.
Ghana, brace yourselves for another electrifying season of Ghana's most beautiful. Thousands of hopefuls from every corner of the country flock to the audition zones, showcasing their unique talents and charm. It's an emotional roller coaster as dreams come true and the chosen ones prepare to embark on a transformational adventure. Our esteemed panel of judges, industry experts and cultural icons will be present every step of the way to help these extraordinary women define their future. The stage is set for an unforgettable season filled with enchantment, passion and the celebration of Ghanaian culture. So mark your calendars and join the live show from July 16, 8 p.m. here on TV3.
Ghana's Most Beautiful, premiering this Sunday 16 July at 8 p.m. on TV3.
GMB 2023 is sponsored by Gino Tomato Mix, GTP, Techno Common 20 Series, AT, Sankofa Spices, Bell Pack Tissues, Vitamilk,
Deluxy Acrylic Paint,
Nescafe Blood Tonic, Heaven Black Mosquito Spray and Coil, Enapa Foods, Freedom from Casapreco, Top Choco.
Welcome to another fun, exciting and educative episode of the Kids Arena. Happy TGIS. Thank God it's Saturday.
We now have our word of the week and it is 3 days.
Okay, so I'm Hediba Ekiadokia Amprechu. I love painting.
When you paint, how do people get to see it?
Through school exhibitions, church, friends and family.
Right behind me, I'm here at the Marina Mall and it's all about the 3FM Baby Fest.
It is us. La 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 la.
Action speaks.
Kids Arena shows Saturdays at 10 a.m. on TV3. Don't miss it.
Good evening and welcome to your favorite ladies of your Saturday. It is the Lady Circle.
Found out that not only are you an actress, but you're also a boudoir model.
Oh, it sounds lovely.
For people who don't know what boudoir means, it's when a model shows a lot of skin.
Eventually, I think people are also trying to see that, okay, that's actually like a good avenue to market whatever I have.
This is your girl, Jessica Lani. Join me on the Lady Circle right here at 6 p.m.
Okay, time up.
Okay, you got this, Sika.
Let's go.
As with anything that's worth doing, create a strategy.
Make sure you don't miss this, because I'll be watching.
The Ladies Circle shows this Saturday at 6 p.m. on TV3.
Brought to you by Yaz Sanitary Pad,
Onga, Yumvita,
MTN,
Woodin,
Nivea, for your shade of beautiful.
Discover boundless horizons at Heritage Christian College.
She comes competition special prosecutor about material. And I mean, why do you kill policemen? You have a very famous and you have seen him. You see how humble he is.
Yes, very, very humble.
And I told you,
he
is a lawyer.
I haven't met him.
That is why every policeman wants to see him as his or her IGP. Master, Alaji. That's how now, mommy, you're crying.
When I met him, I was surprised.
Thank you. You see, humility. This genuine humility. Genuine. And yet the fake humility. Yes, he's the one that we want. Now, when you say the enemy, you will see the outcome of the elections. Do you understand? And he's a true party man. The president is aware because of the way he's being treated. He decided that even Joe Osemusu rather agreed with him that you are a party man. If these people don't want to give you the IGP, because of you, I won't go again. Come and contest my seat, and I will support you to win. That is not what we want. We want him. Constituency, yes, be quiet. We don't want him as MP. I see. Yes, not Tracy, I told you, he's a party man. You see? You see? And the president is aware. I am telling you, he's here. You see? It is not only his constituency that we want him to serve.
No.
He should serve MPP at the national level.
Yes. I mean, that's his profession.
That is his profession. Yes. He's a lawyer, he's a chartered accountant. He taught me at the police college. Anyway, I got 85. I got 85%. Yes.
No, it was good or bad?
Oh, it was excellent. I did well. And when he teaches you, I mean, he has a nice method of teaching. So getting the import of what he has taught you is very easy. This is simple. Simplifies everything. You see? So he's the one everybody wants to see. This man is not a lawyer. He has no fair idea of the law. He has never been on the field. It was NDC that was promoting him day in, day out. When Massa was assistant superintendent of police, he was a sergeant. You were what? Sergeant. Sergeant.
I told her he didn't believe it.
Sergeant. Then NDC brought you this far. Now, what he's bragging about is the fact that he will be IGP to 2030, because your mama has promised him if he should win, may God forbid anything, if he should win, he will maintain him as IGP.
Well, welcome back to Key Point here on TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also live on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, DSTV channel 279, all across the world on 3news.com. These are just snippets of the leaked tape, which captures allegedly a plot to remove the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Akufo Dampare, and you heard the voices there. We'll get into it shortly. Let me put it on record that this is almost a 3-hour conversation from what I have listened to, but just aspects of it that are of importance to the conversation that we're having this morning. Joining me in studio is a professor of political science at the University of Ghana, Legon, Professor Ransford Jampo. Prof, good morning, welcome.
Good morning, thank you for having me.
Also, the Deputy Majority Whip of this 8th Parliament is a Member of Parliament for the Tolong constituency, Honorable Habib Idris. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right. Also joining us is the Member of Parliament for the North Tong constituency, Samuel Okujato Ablakwa. Good morning, Honorable. Welcome.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me.
The ranking on the Foreign Affairs Committee of Parliament. Will be also joined shortly by Martin Pebo, is private legal practitioner and leader of one of 3 individual bondholder groups, and also the leader of the Kumepeku Rido, the demonstration. And to you, our guests as well, welcome. Now, this week, we have seen this and heard aspects of this leaked tape conversation. that details this alleged plot. Let me start off with you, Honorable Abebe Idris, because this was an issue that was topical on the floor of Parliament, with even the Interior Minister, Ambrose Derry, offering some level of assurance that he's headed, but then the IGP has the full backing of the president and so on. But that was not convincing enough for your other colleagues, and indeed some members of the general public.
Yes.
Have you listened to the details of this tape?
Yes, good morning. I have listened, like you said, it's a long tape. I've listened to aspect of it that is in the news. That has to do with the fact that people are plotting or people are planning for the Inspector General of Police to be put out of his current position. If you listen to the tape very well and what actually happened in Parliament, it's very disappointing. Disappointing in the sense that you have a lot of questions to ask, and then you'll be able to appreciate the fact that these things happening in our country at this material moment is totally unacceptable and actually completely out of place. The Interior Minister have indicated that the President have no intention, or there's nothing like that, getting the IGP out of office. That is number one. And I think on Thursday, our colleague, the Deputy Minority Leader, also Amabua, also read a statement on the floor of Parliament, and then the Speaker then indicated to both caucuses to be able to get some 3 nominees each for a committee to be set up. But when you look at the tape, listen to it very well, be able to put an eye on it, then you come to ask yourself questions. Why? Why did they record it? That's the first place. And who recorded it? And who leaked it? These are critical questions that you need to ask yourself. But when you look at the country that we are in, you'll be able to see that such recordings, unless otherwise, it will be difficult for any court to admit it as evidence if actually we are going to prosecute people, because you cannot record somebody without his consent. That is against natural justice. You cannot record anybody. And for me, I have a lot of questions, and I don't want to comment much on this issue because my position is that the recording in itself is wrong. To the one who leaked it is also equally wrong.
Are you saying the recording of the conversation, this alleged plot, the recording is wrong, or the conversation that was going on is wrong? Which one? Is it the
No,
act
it's
of
wrong
recording?
to record me without my consent. That is the first.
That's your first consent.
Yes, it is very wrong to record anybody on an audio, video device without the consent of the person. And the second fact is that why did they release it, and who does that, and what's the intention? Is it the case that the IGP is also of the view that he might be booted out? Is he the one who leaked the recording? Is he the one who sanctioned the recording? There are so many, because my former regional chairman name is part of it, as those who that is Bugri Nabu, who was the Northern Regional Chairman in 2016 when I was a parliamentary candidate. He was my regional chairman. So it's rather unfortunate that this recording have happened. And then
they're alleged persons on it. Now we still don't know the identities of these people. Unless you are telling me that you know for sure that that's Bugri Nabu.
But I don't think I'm the first person for you to hear it from me that the voice there is purported to be one deputy commissioner, former regional chairman Bugri Nabu, and the others. That's why I'm saying that where I sit, is a difficult thing for me to comment on at the moment. I can only say this, but I have a lot and a serious problem with it. That is why when Speaker said we should set up this committee, even though he has given us up to next week for both caucuses to be able to set up, I'm just asking myself questions as to what we ought to achieve out of this. When you say Parliament should set up a committee, both caucuses should have 3 members each and a technical person to be able to probe into the audio and other things. Yes, definitely we have oversight. Definitely we can be able to probe into issues. But at the end of the day, what do we ought to achieve in this? It's going to be very difficult for us. Even as a caucus, we haven't been able to sit down whether we really want to participate in this exercise or not. The caucus might decide to say that no, we might not be interested in going ahead with it. But I don't think exactly what the committee will be doing and exactly what the committee will achieve. So it will be entirely an exercise that will not yield any results.
That's your verdict already about this committee that's yet to be established. So it's an exercise now, not yield results. That's
because the point is that even though the speaker didn't indicate clearly the reference point that we need to do.
There's reference.
The reference is that we should probe into that that audio recordings that purported to be the voice of Assistant Commissioner, former Regional Chairman Bugri Nabu, and the rest. But my difficulty here is that if that committee is set up and Parliament then finish its work, and then what? There are other agencies that are more equipped than Parliament to be able to pop into the tape, but not Parliament, certainly.
Which agencies are you talking about?
We have security agencies that can be able to do it. If you say that the police are already deep nose into it, but you have the National Security, you have the BNI, and you have a lot of other agencies that can be able to probe into the whole issue to see exactly what can be done. But for Parliament, maybe Sami might have an idea, but for me, from where I sit, I don't see it going on. It's just the politics that we are playing out of it. Because when you listen to what our colleagues and other things, our colleagues from the other side are saying, you definitely conclude that the whole thing has been politicized at the moment. And when the atmosphere is being politicized, it becomes very difficult to get a result. And so left to me alone, this committee speaker have directed that we should form. I don't see where it will go.
But there are clear terms of reference, which we will get into. But so your first concern, regardless, because I wanted to establish whether you had actually listened to the tape, which you said you have. But your first and most important concern to you is why this was recorded without the consent of the people on the said recording. I mean, what has that got to do with the seriousness of the issues that they were talking about there? Why?
But the point is that even that audio, if we are going to actually prosecute anybody for related offense to this, might be very difficult to be argued.
You know, there are some people who are in court because of leaked audios and conversations.
Have we ever gotten any success out of that prosecution?
Some people is in court for a leaked audio or of a conversation, something like of a sort. So you're saying that this that happened cannot be prosecuted in the court of law?
Look, from where I sit, I'm a deputy government whip. I know more than what I am saying, and I know more than what I am saying, and I am in a very difficult situation to actually comment seriously with regards to this leaked tape. But there is more to it than what we have heard. There is more to it than what has been said. There is more to it than how it has been leaked. So that is where we have to look at it. And like I said, I know more than what I'm saying. So I'll just take my cool now. The difficulty that I am in is in two folds. One, I am a government whip. I know the side of government. I know what is going on in there. And I know why and other things that is happening. And then the second issue has to do with the fact that I am a leader in Parliament. The Speaker have given directive. Yes, I have to comply and respect the institution that I belong to and so cherish. So left to me, it is just a bit of a mix-up. But honestly, I don't think Parliament was the right forum for this to be done. I don't think Parliament is the right forum.
Well, these are the terms of reference. I'll come to Professor Jampo on this. The terms of reference that the 7-member committee the Speaker has established would also take into consideration in their work. We'll put the terms of reference on the screen shortly. But this 7-member committee is supposed to be made up of 3 members from the minority, 3 members from the majority, and then 1 technical person. And within the week, I've spoken to some security analysts like Ken Officer Sobaje, retired, and others who made recommendations that Parliament would probably be the right forum to initiate some sort of probe into this, because you cannot also discount the political angle of the conversation that was captured and the angle that the people in there were pushing and the alleged persons on that said tape as well. So, Prof, now listening to a government person or somebody in the ruling party make the point that, look, there's more to this tape. And so already the concern is about why it was recorded and who leaked it. Is that the real issue that we should be really concerned about now, considering the veracity of the issues that were captured on this alleged tape?
Well, thank you. Before the alleged tape came, we had heard rumors being peddled following the Asenov by-election, to the effect that it appears the IGP worked so competently and to the admiration of all, and so people started banding the rumor that he is likely to be booted, out of office. And I started wondering what was wrong with us, or what is wrong with us as a people, that if people are working competently and they are performing their mandate without fear or favor, and so if it does not inure to the benefit of a certain segment of the population, it does not inure to the benefit of a certain political party that brought, whose presidency appointed that person into office, then suddenly competence becomes a crime for which one will have to be booted. I'm wondering what is wrong with some of us Ghanaians. And so we heard this rumor being peddled. Kutu Champon once passed a legislation, approve of a legislation that was against the peddling of rumors. And I think that to prevent rumors, they say, yes, say, ake, from festering and also leading to certain things like this, it's important as a nation and as a people that we rethink how we go about this. If there was at a point in time a rumor, a bill or a legislation that was supposed to prevent the peddling of rumors, then it tells you the extent to which wicked rumors can sometimes fester and lead to a certain reality. Now, the rumor, nobody said anything about it. It was festered among the echelons of power, among some ordinary people, and nobody did anything about it. Then, recently, we've heard about this leak tape. In my own judgment, I think it is essentially a leak tape of influence peddlers. Let's say influence peddlers. They may not be powerful people who parade the corridors of power and pretend to be powerful, but they may not even be influential, but may be peddling influence, amongst themselves and pretending that they are the ones who are movers and shakers of when it comes to decision making. And so, in my view, you see, there's no smoke without fire. Like I said, we heard these rumors before the leak tape came. I do not think that it is a big deal. The point is that if this was the intention of some people in the corridors of power, by the grace of God, we, per our responses, have been able to foil that intention. Okay, and so if we've been able to foil that intention, all that I am looking for is for government to officially come out to either confirm or to say that, look, we have nothing to do with this and this is not going to happen. It's not...
Government have done that.
No, please, I know the Interior Minister has spoken. You see, but in such an important matter like this,
have every respect for the office of the Interior Minister. But within government setup and within political party organization, those of us who teach politics, we tell you that they are guaranteed different interests. Okay. The interest within a political party, the interest within government setup, they are different. And so the interest of Ambrose Derry may not be the same as the interest of other ministers. In a political party organization, sometimes political parties, people do things under the aegis of being members of political party, and then you realize that the entire political party organization may not have even sanctioned that. And so my position is that rather than Ambrose Derry alone coming out to say that, government is not planning to do this, I am looking for a statement from the presidency. Yes, because it is not Ambrose Derry who appointed the IGP. It is the President of the Republic who appointed the IGP. And so I am looking for a statement, clear-cut statement, coming from the presidency, dissociating the presidency from it and saying that, look, I am your appointing authority. I am not interested in removing you. I think you are doing well, and so keep up, go on. Now, when you do this, you would succeed in energizing the man to continue to work. And then also, it would be good for the party, because then the rumors that tend to make the presidency and the government look bad, that as for you, if people are doing what is right, if people are asserting themselves, if people are showing strong will in prosecuting the mandate you don't like, that rumor would also be eroded, and then that perception would also be dealt with. But if you don't have the presidency coming up to say anything and they are quiet, they may well have maybe called Dampare to tell him that, look, we are not going to do anything to you. But it is not good for the public image of the government. And so let the government come out publicly to say that, look, we support whatever you are doing. We are not going to remove you from office. Keep up the good works. When you do that, you would succeed in empowering and giving more confidence to the man so he can carry out his mandate. And then also, you would have succeeded in dealing with the negative tag that you don't mean well, and when people are working well, you want to change them. You may have succeeded in doing that. So if the presidency come out to do this, then it will be unnecessary for us to say Parliament should go and probe. And this is a recording. People can dissociate. People can tell you they've been doctored. It will be difficult. And then he made a point. I don't know. Martin Kpebu is here. He's a lawyer. I did a course in US called Judicial Politics, and the admissibility of a secretly recorded tape, okay, without the consent of the one who was recorded, is quite difficult elsewhere in courts as an evidence against the person. And so taking this matter to court also becomes a bit problematic. So my point is that we would succeed in solving the matter if the appointing authority comes out openly to say that, look, in a statement, that, look, we are not interested in this. Dr. Dampare, carry on with your work. We brought you into office, and we are not going to remove you. And so go on. And then for me, it would put the matter to rest. The party in power, the governing party, because when the rumors started, it was coming from the quarters of the party. So the party too can publicly also issue a statement to say that, look, we want to dispel the rumor that that is being peddled, that we want the IGP to be removed. And then assure him again that the party is also not interested in his removal, and that he should continue to undertake, his functions. Again, that would energize the man and enable him to continue to do his work. But the deafening silence from both the quarters of the party and the presidency, in my view, throws a certain cold water on the work of the IGP. It demoralizes the IGP and his team, and it undermines the concept of democratic policing in our part of the world. And this problem also feeds into or brings to the fore the mode of appointment of inspector generals of our police, which we have spoken against, which the 1992 constitution, which was being reviewed, also captured. When you go to London, okay, the Metropolitan Police head there undergoes an extensive selection process. Examinations are written, interviews are undertaken. Those who pass are selected to head the police, and they owe allegiance only to the state and not to any appointing authority. But in our part of the world, we have made the presidency or the president a political king, appointing everybody. And so everybody tends to behold to the president. And so if you get people like Dampare who have the strong will to be able to undertake their mandate, then some very ignorant partisan people begin to feel that if he's not doing our bidding, then let's fester a rumor just to be able to remove him. Ghana does not belong to politicians. Ghana is not for MPP. Ghana is not for NDC. It belongs to Ghanaians. And so it is up to us, we the people. If things are working well, we should applaud. If people are doing their work in a manner that is devoid of fear and favor, Ghana belongs to us. We must commend them. And even when the politicians ignorantly want to torpedo said people, we must stand in their way and we must do some of these things we have done, which in my view have effectively foiled their very bogus attempt to oust the IGP.
You see, the concern, as you have captured, goes beyond just the influence peddling. I mean, that one, it happens. That maybe now we have a recording to confirm that people actually try to influence who becomes an IGP with kinds of conversations that goes on. The major concern with the conversation about this recording is about the 2024 elections coming in there and the fact that George Akuffo Dampare would not allegedly do the bidding of the ruling party, and so somebody who is a true party man. You heard that in the audio I played. It's the one who should be brought in. Would you wish away such a thing or statement allegedly without some
the
level
point
of currency?
is that we have been able to, in my view, we've been able to foil that very useless and bogus attempt to fester an idea that in the lead up to elections, we must get a police head who will do the bidding. I mean, how is a police head going to do the bidding of a party? Is he going to command the shooting of voters? Is he the one who counts the votes? What is he going to do? Is he going to unleash tax on people to be intimidating voters? And why should that be something that we as a people wanting to grow our democracy, why should it be our concern? Why should we be worried? Why should we be worried that we don't have a police officer who would do our bidding, but we have a police officer who would perform his function without fear or favor? I mean, I do not understand us. Some people, they are not fit to live in a democracy. We must find a way to park them somewhere because their mindset is undemocratic. Their mindset is about nation wrecking. Their mindset is always corrupt. Their mindset is the perpetuation of undemocratic tendencies within the body politic. And we should find a way of ostracizing them from our democratic practice, because this thing does not make sense. It is difficult to build institutions in our part of the world. And so now building institutions is now about the persona of those who are appointed to head those institutions. Afarijan once said that, you see, if you are a chair of the Electoral Commission, for instance, you must always have the strong will to assert yourself and to assert your independence. Okay, it is not too good for the independence of institutions to be brought about by the persona and the strong will of individuals. Otherwise, tomorrow, if they are not there, then the institution would go back to its weak status. But the point is, to the extent that we have not been able to strengthen institutions so that they will function beyond the strong will and personas of people, we have not gotten there yet. But so if individuals show such determination They show such strong will. They show the competence to be able to do things or carry their mandate without fear or favor. If they do this, and it is to the admiration of Ghanaians, nobody has got the business to think about the fact that, look, he's doing so well, he's not doing our bidding, and so because of that, we should think about ousting the person. That person is not fit to live in a democracy.
You see, it is the treasonable nature of some of these comments allegedly captured in there is what has generated this concern, especially what happened that led to the death of innocent people in the 2020 elections. Also, is fresh in the minds of people as well. So when these conversations go on, it brings that concern about what should be or has been done in previous elections. Let's see the terms of reference of the Speaker's 7-member committee as established. But let me welcome Martin Kpebu, is private legal practitioner, a leader of one of 3 individual bond groups, and the convener for the Komi-Preko the demonstration. Lawyer, good morning, welcome.
Morning. You see, before you show the terms of reference, I'm saying that the parliamentary probe is absolutely unnecessary.
Why?
Why? I think that if, listen, all these, you see, what happened was done with the view to influencing a certain decision that would lead to the ousting of the IGP. If the appointing authority comes out, and I'm saying per what we have been doing, we've been able to foil that attempt. So if the appointing authority comes out to say that, look, I am not going to do that, first of all, it douses whatever.
But you see, Professor Jampo, your proposition is predicated on the appointing authority coming out. As we speak, the appointing authority has not come out to do so. And so, meaning the absence of that,
the appointing authority is interested in doing that.
I don't think it's right to say that the appointing authority haven't come out to say anything. The Inspector General Police, and for that matter, the police service, is under a ministry, which is the Interior Minister. The Interior Minister might not or will not just come and say anything without actually talking to his appointee, that's the president. So you cannot say that the appointing authority doesn't or have not said anything. And in any case, if the Interior Minister, who the IGP is directly under, is telling you that there is nothing of that nature, now you don't need the presidency to come and say that. Come on. We should not just level on the point that such things like the presidency having spoken, the Interior Minister have spoken, the IGP or the institution police service is under the Interior Minister. So his immediate boss have spoken and said that there is nothing like that. And that's the position of the government.
Well, I think that, you see, in a serious matter like this, you see, it is the police and the judiciary, they hold us together. Okay. And so anything that threatens their independence and the work that they do must be tackled from with all seriousness.
So you want the president to comment on a leak?
Yes. The Interior Minister may have spoken, but you see, it was not even at a very officialized, ceremony. I think some people went to just...
No, it's not official. He spoke in Parliament. And when you make statements in Parliament and make it categorically clear that there is no such thing, he said it in Parliament. And that's the position, and that's what government has spoken about.
Too much meat will not spoil the soup. Let the president...
No, we shouldn't set a bad precedent for this, our democracy, that any institution where there's a purported recording, you need the presidency to always come and issue a statement. No, we are going to set a very bad precedent.
The office of the IGP is not any institution.
The office of the IGP is not under the office of the president. It is under the Interior Minister. And the Interior Minister has spoken. IGP is not under the office of the president. He's under the office of the Interior Minister.
It is difficult for a simple official statement for the presidency to be issued.
I don't think the president should do that.
What does it take for a statement to be issued?
So tomorrow, if there is something like that in a different institution,
is it the West that cannot be put together?
Reduce our presidency. Is it difficult? We should reduce our presidency to be making statements on recordings that cannot be substantiated, that cannot be authenticated.
Listen.
And what about if the recording is even staged? What about if the recording is staged?
If I need you to come in, I would give you the permission to do so.
I do respect that as a moderator, but I
Good.
will not definitely. I will not also accept the statement that government haven't made a statement. Government have.
Let me put it here. These are the rules of this conversation. If you want to make a point, alert me.
Okay.
And I would allow you to do so, and allow the others to speak, so that we can have a decorous conversation for the benefit of our viewers.
So can I conclude my point?
In a minute.
Well, so I am saying that it is in the interest of the ruling party, it is in the interest of the presidency or the government that a very formalized statement is issued assuring the IGP that he would continue to remain in his office so long as he discharges or undertakes his duty without fear or favor. And in my view, this will be one way of sort of strengthening and emboldening the IGP to do more.
Okay.
The kind of silence that we have now is deafening, and in my view, it sort of throws cold water on what the IGP is doing. And that is not in the interest of all of us as a people. It's not in the interest of the ruling party, because it sees them, it makes them look very bad that if an institution or officer of state is doing its work very well, you don't like. It is also not in the interest of the presidency or the government, because it also points the fact that if you appoint somebody and the person develops that strong will to do what is right, you don't like. And so a formal statement to sort of assure the IGP that this is not going to happen will be good for Ghana, it will be good for the ruling party, it will be good for the presidency. Thank you.
Let's see the terms of reference of this 7-member committee, and it details a number of things. And then I'll bring in Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa. One, they're supposed to, first of all, confirm the authenticity of the leaked audio recording. Secondly, investigate the conspiracy to remove the IGP, Dr. George Akuffo Dampare. It goes on that the third is the third term of reference for this committee is to investigate any other matter contained in the audio recording, because they said a number of things, allegedly, and then recommend sanctions to persons found culpable where appropriate. It goes on with a few more. It also talks about making recommendations for reforms where necessary, and make such other recommendations and consequential orders as a committee may deem appropriate. These are the terms of reference. So, Habib Idris, there are specific terms of reference for this 7-member committee.
I told you initially that, yes, in the first place, there is no committee existing at the moment. The committee is yet to be formed. And for that matter, when the committee forms, we will be able to know even how the committee sitting will be, whether we are going to allow the public to come in, we are going to who we need to talk to be able to arrive at the. But what I was saying, and my difficulty continued to be the fact that, yes, we have all heard the purported leak tape allegedly to belong to this and that, but we should definitely not let it look like this is the first time that it has happened. Yes, maybe many people, you can even ask yourself, what about if the tape is staged? It is also a possibility that if the tape is staged.
Is that not
so
why
that
there
is
has
why
to
I'm
be an
saying,
investigation?
That's what I'm saying. But the point is that I raise a certain concern where definitely parliaments have the power to do some of these issues. But definitely our hands are tight when it comes to this issue. The Interior Minister has spoken to this issue. The IGP is still in place. He's doing his work. Nobody have asked him to step aside. Nobody have asked him to step aside for investigation or for the tape and other things. So, no, I mean, what I'm trying to say is that Parliament, our hands are tight in the sense that when you are able to do this investigation, the point is that where does it end? If actually the audio is the primary source of reference when you want to prosecute somebody, and like Prof was saying, you go, the person said, I didn't, know that I was recorded, and blah, blah. Definitely, the legal part of it,
it's good that we have a lawyer here.
It will be difficult
we'll
to
get
win
into the
this
legal conversation, but Zablakwa, are your hands tied as Parliament to get into this and also give some answers to the terms of reference as captured in there for the benefit of the Ghanaian people?
Well, first of all, let me state that I am totally appalled this morning, absolutely disgusted, and really scandalized by the statements from the Honorable Habib to say this morning that his primary concern is about who did the recording and who leaked it. That's all he cares about. He is not bothered about the content. He doesn't care a hoot about the very despicable statements, treasonable statements that have been made. The content of that tape, which has indeed...
Can you say that is alleged to have been made?
The content...
Don't say that has been made.
The content...
People can deny it.
The
People can say it's doctored.
Please.
Okay.
Can we
be guided?
You are not to tell anybody here how to go about the discussion.
No, but you are using strong adjectives. He's using strong adjectives against my comments. And I'm telling him that he should also know that it is an alleged.
I see you have a pen. Can you just take... When you were speaking, I was really appalled about everything you said. I didn't interrupt. So please, let me make my point. The content of that tape must be of concern to any Democrat. The reason the vast majority of Ghanaians are outraged about this tape is because the content allegedly speaks to a plot to subvert the will of the Ghanaian people. That the upcoming elections, it is not the vote of Ghanaians that will matter, but machinations. I have the transcript here. The senior commissioner is heard saying, this IGP won't help us. I'm quoting verbatim. He won't. He wants everything to be done fairly. And we don't win elections that way. If we don't remove him, we cannot break the 8. In politics, we need machinations. And this IGP won't allow that. Then he continues. The president is not listening. I have been telling him, even if they don't want to give me the job, they should give it to another person, but they don't want to listen. Then he proceeds to make recommendations and talks about our men in the service, known MPP activists in the service. We all know, under this constitution, under chapter 15 of this constitution, the kind of police service that the Constitution envisages. The police service ought not be partisan. It has to be professional. Aren't you worried that you have a senior commissioner saying that they know who is MPP, who is NDC in the top echelons of the Ghana Police Service? Allegedly. Allegedly, you must be worried about that. You must be frightened about that. And I am deeply frightened about this kind of service, if what this gentleman is heard saying is true. Then it means that we now have what? An MPP NDC service where people are not being identified by their expertise, their professionalism, but it is about their party affiliation. I mean, crime, maintaining law and order should not be about who is MPP, who is NDC in the Ghana Police Service. It undermines the whole agenda to protect the stability, the peace, and the welfare of our country. So these are matters that are of grave implications. I mean, to want to rig elections, to want to subvert the will of the people, and to say that, look, this IGP is because of him that we lost in Asin North. I mean, look, and listening to Habib this morning, I asked myself, are these the same people who in opposition told us about how great the Anas principle is? Didn't we hear President Akufo-Addo, then candidate Akufo-Addo, tell us that when he comes to power, he will adopt the Anas principle? that he likes that principle. If you are not doing anything bad, you shouldn't be worried about whether somebody will come recording you or not. And that he is actually going to set spies. You remember that IEA debate? He rolled out the modus operandi based on the Anas principle. How he will appoint, he said, young, intelligent, sharp, operatives who will be on his appointees in ministries, departments, agencies to make sure that in implementing the Anas principle, when you know that the president's men are watching undercover, you will eschew corruption. You will eschew all of what is untoward. You will do what is right. Today, the concern is, why are people recording? Why are people leaking tapes? I have always said that, there are two schools of thought. Some say that probably the Anas principle may amount to subterfuge and setting up and all of that. I belong to the other school of thought, which was the school of thought the president belonged to when he was in opposition, that if you are doing nothing wrong, you have nothing to fear. Look at the case of the Minister of State who was fired recently. What business do you have engaging in that kind of conversation with sheikhs? Whether the sheikhs were make-believe or they were actors or not, that should not be your mindset in public office about, appearance fee and how you have to send a percentage to the vice president's office and all of that. We were all appalled. We said that, look, how the minister spoke was not appropriate. So I belong to the school of thought that says that you should always conduct yourself properly, above board, particularly as a public official. Your statements, your conduct in your activities, whatever you do, if the spotlight is brought on that activity, will you be proud of that conduct? So people should spare us this morning about admissibility issues, why are people recording, why are people leaking tapes, and so they want to take us away from the grave matters, the despicable matters that have been said. Look, let's come to this matter.
You made reference to one statement that this so-called party police allegedly captured on the tape is saying that he's been telling the president this and the president is not listening. There's been that other school of thought that if it's in the case that the president is not listening, does it not suggest that he is actually in support of Dr. George Akuffo Dampare's work? That's why he's not listening to suggestions to have him sacked.
I would also introduce another school of thought that if I am president, I will not be entertaining this conversation in the first place. You will lose your job if you keep coming to me consistently and having this kind of conversation. Is that your work? As police commissioner, is that what you are there to do? To be seeking to undermine your boss, constantly telling the president that he should fire him, he should get rid of him? And why is the president even entertaining that discussion on multiple occasions, if it is true? I don't want to believe that. This creates the impression that this guy is really an influence peddler. But if it is true, then I'm even more worried that any president will be entertaining this conversation on multiple occasions, as he is claiming, and saying that the president is not listening. Look, the MPP should recognize that Asinov was lost not because of the work of the IGP, which has been commended by everybody, praised by everybody across the board. I hold here a statement that was issued by no less a person than the President of the Republic, dated 28 June 2023. Right after the Asinov elections. The president said, and I quote, "I congratulate warmly the chairperson and members of the Electoral Commission, again for a job well done. The security services are to be commended for maintaining law and order during the holding of the elections." Unquote. The security services are to be commended for maintaining law and order during the holding of the elections. And the president continues to commend the media for the coverage. He congratulated the NDC, and then he urged the MPP members not to be down, to keep their heads up, and all of that. Everybody, including the president, the commander-in-chief, commended the IGP. I was at the St. James electoral area, carrying out my polling agent and observer duties. When the IGP arrived, he was touring the various polling stations. A few minutes after he arrived, he went on a walk down the road to Intokrom. Then my branch chairman, who was doing what we call calling out the votes with a motorbike, ran to me and said the IGP and his men had seized his motorbike, so I should intervene. I rushed to the scene, and the IGP says that, oh, Honorable, he's your man, right? I said, yes, he's our branch chairman. He said, oh, then you are in trouble because the motorbike is not registered. And so he can't have it back. It is against the law. And as soon as he said that, I said, oh, I mean, I now understand. I mean, it's clear what the offense is. The motorbike is not registered. So I had to appeal to the branch chairman to calm down, that we'll see how we contribute and buy him another bike, because the IGP is doing his work. He's very professional. And they took the bike away. My branch chairman lost the motorbike. Later that day, I saw another clip where MPP functionaries, I saw Gabi Ochidaku in a video, the General Secretary, then Deputy Leader Afenyo Makin, confronting some, I think it was the IGP as well, saying that their men have been arrested. So, see a balanced IGP at the St. James electoral area where I was, a motorbike belonging to an NDC operative, seized. He goes to another place, I think that was the Breku electoral area, and the MPP is complaining that he's arrested their men and seized weapons. So you can see that, I mean, he wasn't favoring anybody. He's doing his work. That is what we should encourage. That is what we should promote. People who come into office and they are not beholden to appointed authorities. They don't fear politicians. They work without fear or favor. That is what we should be commending. If there's any public official who we should be commending, who we should be encouraging, why is it that in this country, and particularly under this regime, people who stand up to authority, look at what happened to Dom Levo. 3 years after, and I can talk about this fair and square, because the Supreme Court has confirmed that his removal was unconstitutional, except that it took the Supreme Court too long. And after their judgment, the matter was really moot. He can't go back to his job. Dom Levo, we all know in this country, for standing up to a senior minister in the Kroll matter, that was when his troubles began. Martin Amidu, special prosecutor, for standing up to the finance minister and to the president, saying that this Ejapa deal, after my risk assessment conducted on this deal, it is fraught with corruption. I cannot accept this Ejapa deal to proceed. See how he was hounded. He eventually had to resign. So what kind of country is this? What kind of regime, what kind of leadership do we have? That we rather want to keep crooked people in office, people who will not be independent, will not be fearless, will not be competent, will not carry out their mandate. I mean, see what some of us are going through. I mean, can you believe that somebody who clearly, and now the courts have confirmed, the human rights courts have confirmed, he had the audacity to go to court, to take a member of parliament on, seeking to prevent me from doing my work.
Well, we'll get to that matter.
So there's something fundamentally wrong about this ecosystem, which emboldens wrongdoers, crooked activists, people who are not straightforward. And then those who rather want to walk on the narrow path of righteousness, they are not safe. They are constantly being threatened. And Professor Jampo is right. I would not even call them rumors. I saw videos, MPP activists, communicators, speaking out after Asinov, saying that this IGP must be removed. Nobody stopped them. Was that an official line? Was that the script communicators were given? And then this tape finally emerges. Look, let's be clear. The MPP lost Asinov because of their gross misrule, their insensitive governance, The people say that you can't starve them, keep them hungry for years. Then overnight, when you see there is a by-election, you saw them when the graders and road construction equipments were arriving. They were hooting at them. The people have seen of their level of political consciousness, their democratic maturity is remarkable, it's admirable. And then they understood that what their MP was going through was persecution, not prosecution. That when the president comes and says that, why do you want to vote for people who, somebody going to jail? It's a prejudicial statement, and that they would not allow anybody to engage in that kind of, judicial manipulation and threaten or intimidate them from voting for who they want to lead them. And that is why this time they won with even the MP won with a much wider margin. So you see, I maybe from a political strategy point of view, probably we in the NDC should be excited that the MPP still doesn't get it. They think it's because there's a police commander who cannot help them with their rigging agenda. That is why they are losing elections. You underestimate the vigilance of the electorate when they are determined to stand up to you. Look, there is no force, no army that can run over a determined people. When the masses say that they are now conscious, they are awakened, no matter your political machination. This guy here saying in politics we need machinations. Without machinations and removal of the IGP, we can't win. They don't get it. They underestimate the force of the people. But let me conclude by exposing the hypocrisy. So yes, the hypocrisy of by my colleague Habib and those who are speaking like him on the MPP side. As we speak, the former chairman of the National Democratic Congress, the Honorable Samuel Ofosu Ampofu, has been in court for more than 3 years, since 2019, over a leaked tape. Over a leaked tape. Yeah. The charge is that he held a meeting with NDC communicators and was saying that they should go after the Electoral Commissioner, go after the chairman of the Peace Council, and that allegedly if they can even harm them, they should. He has been facing trial for the last 3 years. Today, Habib is saying that this is much ado about nothing. The parliamentary probe is not even necessary. I totally disagree. Look, let's be consistent in governance. Let's not do things that, different strokes for different folks. When it is a member of our party, the approach is different, the principle is different. When it is a political opponent, then the principle doesn't apply. It is a different response. We cannot develop a country that way. A parliamentary probe is essential, and I salute the Speaker for his decision. I commend the Honorable Ama Kofi Boah for raising this matter. And this is going to be a 7-member committee. The Speaker has said that both sides should submit names within 7 days, and the probe will happen. I trust this Speaker. I mean, see how determined he has been, even on the LGBTQ matter and other matters. When he is determined, you can't stop him. This probe is essential. Look, all the security experts I have read on this matter, all of them say there is a need for investigations. You can't leave this matter
even beyond what the Interior Minister has said.
And you see,
Interior Minister saying this on the floor, dismissing these allegations that they are really, the details of the leak tape are much ado about nothing. What the Interior Minister said on the floor, you were there.
I didn't want to put the Interior Minister on the spot, but if you followed parliamentary proceedings, we took issue with him because before he came to the floor and was compelled to now make more wholesome and conducive statements, his earlier response was not good. He said that he doesn't see any criminality on the tape when he made the parliamentary press call. So we took him on in Parliament. That how can you say that? That he said tapes will be useful to me when they relate to crime, but otherwise, no. This is him, to quote
Maybe
he hadn't listened. I mean, somebody who is allegedly talking about subversion, that we are going to rig elections. I mean, do we know the implications of that? Destabilizing this Fourth Republic. I mean, you want to remember Liberia, Sierra Leone, Ivory Coast, when there were, rigged elections and disputed elections and conflict and violence erupted? Do we know the implications of that? I mean, this is treasonable. So we were not impressed with how the Interior Minister handled this earlier. Then the next day, when we raised the matter on the floor, he then, seeing the seriousness and how we were ready to confront him, he then says, look, let me assure you the IGP is not going anywhere. So I agree with Professor Jampo that the president must speak. The Interior Minister did double speaking. Earlier seeking to downplay, treat the tape with some contempt. Then later, the next day in Parliament, now adopting the right posture in the face of, So that flip-flopping approach, we don't know which one really is coming from his boss. So his boss himself must speak and give assurance. But it should be without prejudice to what Parliament is going to do. I think that the inquiry is essential and must take place.
Well, someone could about Blackwell, thank you. Now, let me bring in lawyer Martin Kpebu. So there's been that legal question raised about how this world really stand in the face of the law or in the court of law. Now, you've listened to aspects of this tape, I'm sure, and we've been playing much of it this morning. What does the law say about a situation like this if after the probe and recommendations are made, then a court probably comes in? How will this play out in the court of law?
Yeah, okay. So the first answer strictly is that the Supreme Court says the admissibility of tapes like this, where no consent is being sought, etc., will be determined on a case-by-case basis. Okay. So it means that as we sit here, I don't have a crystal ball that I can look in and tell you that this one will be admissible or will be admitted into evidence straight without any cover. Okay, so we can't tell. So it's on a case-by-case basis. Okay. But of course, you can ask me that based on my experience, what do I think? Then that I can offer an opinion. That's a personal one, but it cannot strictly be a final legal answer because the Supreme Court says case-by-case basis. So they will look at the contents of it, how serious it is, and all the circumstances. Yes, that is the thing. And that is in tandem with Article 18 of our Constitution. Okay, so the case that went to the Supreme Court is called Raphael Kubaji, right, and a certain Yeboah, right? So you go to Article 18, and then it mentions that, yes, like Honorable Habib said, don't interfere with a person's private communications, right? Except when there is an interest to prevent crime, right, for the health and then the economic well-being of the country. So let me read so that for emphasis. Article 18, Clause 2. It says, no person shall be subjected to interference with the privacy of his home, property, correspondence, or communication, except in accordance with law and as may be necessary in a free and democratic society for public safety or the economic well-being of the country, for the protection of health or morals, for the prevention of disorder or crime, or for the protection of the rights or freedoms of others. You say, so very long clawback provision. So you are giving with one hand, and then it is taken back with another. But in each situation, it will be for the court to determine. So, and as Honorable Okujeto mentioned, you see that there's some Ofusu and Pofu one, because the issues were allegedly very grave. The tape was admitted. Then also, I think, was it who mentioned the issue of Dr. Agojo, the McPan, the alleged coup plotters case? Yes, the tapes were admitted.
And some of the Anas cases too.
Yes, they are not excellent. That's even where we should have begun from, because Anas tapes have been admitted over the years and used to sack people from customs, etc. But it remains that the answer is that it's on a case-by-case basis. But like we are saying, because tapes similar to these ones have been admitted in the past, we can say that, oh, based on that, we think that chances are very high that such a tape will be admissible. Okay? Yeah, because these are very grave. Yes, Honorable Abid, I share your concerns that, yes, we are all in danger if people just record us anyhow, blah, blah. That's how the American jurisprudence is more restrictive. Yes, so the one you're mentioning, yes, very, very restrictive. The fruit of the forbidden tree, etc. So the jurisprudence there is very complex. But what we have...
They don't tolerate that.
Yes, very little exception. Except, well, we have chosen, our Supreme Court says, and so that's how come there's a lot of wisdom in the Supreme Court decision that it will be on a case-by-case basis, so that we'll test it and see. The ones that will strengthen our democracy, we'll say admissible. If it's too personal and it doesn't advance any democratic cause, maybe it's between a man and a woman, they are very private matters that don't concern the rest of the public, and it has nothing, it is not advancing the case before the court. Then say, no, this one not admissible, etc. Right? Yes, so that's a first point. But also, so I think legally I've answered Article 18, Clause 2.
Article 18, Clause 2.
Yes, we've referred to Raphael Kubeji, the Supreme Court case. We've referred to Republic versus Ufusuampofo, Republic versus Dr. McPam, now deceased, the previous Anas cases and all that. So we've been admitting this in tapes, right? Yes, then also there's the essence of the tape in helping to build our democracy. One thing we usually underestimate is the role of leakers. Look, leakers play a very critical role in this democracy. Absolutely. Because a lot of the shenanigans and the very treasonous acts and the rest are not done in the open. It takes subterfuge for somebody to be able to record and to leak. You remember a few weeks ago, I brought you a book by this lady, Condoleezza Rice. Yeah. Not mean a person than the what? She was Secretary of State, and before then, she was President Bush's security advisor, national security advisor. I read the book here. She said, look, the State Department in the U.S., they've been leaking for ages. As soon as, look, they'll tell you that for the State Department, as you're talking about the foreign ministry, they say, look, they hold America. They are some professional bureaucrats. So you come as a politician and you want to do things that do inure to the benefit of the state. They leak. They leak to advance a cause. So as for democracy and leak tapes, oh, they are bedfellows, and we will need more leak tapes. Otherwise, you see, this thing, if somebody had said he was in a meeting and there was no leak tape and he had come out to say this, people would have said, oh, where is the evidence? Then people would have bastardized him. So please, more leaked tapes. More leaked tapes. We need that. Of course, that's those that will help to advance our democracy. Yeah, because, you know, the politicians are really, really, really bad, right? They are bad. Honorable, sorry you guys are here, but the truth of the matter is that for as long as millions of Ghanaians are hungry, can't buy food, can't pay rent and the rest, we'll put it on your head that you guys are bad folks. You've not led this country well, and so we need leak tapes to be able to reveal some of the machinations that this police officer is talking about, etc. Yes, because we can't allow it. We can't. We will need more of the leak tapes to be able to help strengthen our democracy. Right, the next point I'm going to is that, you see, this matter, as now we are saying, oh, the president says nothing. Well, that's what the Interior Minister says, that the president will do nothing to the IG and the rest. It brings back to the fore this debate about appointment of the IGP. You see, the police senior hierarchy, when they went before the Constitutional Review Commission, they made the point that, look, they don't want their IG to be appointed by the president. Yes, that's what the senior police officer said. They don't want their IG to be appointed by the president. And Prof, you mentioned it. The president is just too powerful. And when we are saying the president, we are not talking about President Kufuor alone. It was the same under Rawlings, the same under Tamils, Kufuor, etc. That's how it comes. So you see that almost everything that comes up each week, it lands on constitutional review. Constitutional review, so that will cut down the powers. Because if we had a more independent police service, etc.
Who will not be talking about this?
Exactly. You see that thing? So maybe where are we with the Constitutional Review Commission? It looks like, I mean, well, now instead of the commission, let's say the proposals. Because week in, week out, we come and then we talk, and every time there's a need for review. And yet there's no traction. You see, Honorable Chair Mensah Bonsu did something. Then IEA has been holding some dialogues recently. Yes, but the president is not interested. The president has wasted our 8 years. He's wasted our 8 years when it comes to governance. How can you do that? Because he lost the proposal to appoint MMDC on this non-partisan basis. Then he threw it out. And since then, how can you waste 8 years like that? The man who held so much promise, that President Akufo-Addo is a seasoned lawyer, blah, blah, blah. But his governance hasn't shown the seasoned lawyer that he is. Yes, his governance hasn't shown. 8 years wasted when it comes to constitutional development and strengthening our democracy. Wasted 8 years. Waste. You go to the, what do you call it, the Constitutional Review Commission, even national security. They will tell you that, look, we should amend the Constitution, make human security the face of our national security, etc. So many. Yeah, because it's all about human security. The things we talk about every day. This cost of living crisis, that people are hungry, people are starving, people are dying. It should be the face of our security now, because it's all about human security. President Akufo-Addo hasn't heard. When we say mampam, then people say we shouldn't say so. What about, you know, mampam? Thank
you. So let me go on Zoom right now and quickly. That's Dr. Adam Bona, a security analyst, is joining us on Zoom for a very quick intervention of this particular tape, because what I get the understanding that he's listened to the 3-hour conversation, has quite some knowledge on the details of this tape. Dr. Adam Bona, thank you so much for joining us on Key Point. Now, this committee, as recommended by the Speaker, yet to be established. But what are some of the, for you, from the security perspective, the considerations that this committee should be looking at going into the investigations of this alleged tape that has been leaked?
Yeah, thank you very much, and good morning to your in-studio panelists and your viewers. Well, it is important that this probe, as the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, Bagwin, has directed. We need to have a probe, and I believe it's a bipartisan probe, with one person who the Right Honorable Speaker says should be a technical person. It is important because we need to know how many other police officers are involved. And mine is that for some of us who maybe at our age might have seen 1979 coup, we kept hearing a lot of things here and there. Even 1983 coup, there were rumors here and there.
You mean 1981?
We were told there was a palace coup. So mine is that, Alfred, and your viewers and your in-studio panelists, if anybody says that we should just ignore this leaked tape, a certain portion of our Constitution enjoins all of us to defend the Constitution of this country with our blood. And so if anybody said that I don't support, recording people just like that in this, recording people in conversations. But let me put it out there. If anyone ever called me to have a conversation with me that has to do with destabilizing this country, believe you me, if I have to sell my house to buy a listening device to record you and put it out there as evidence, as the Constitution requires me to do, we will do that. I will pay everything to record you and let the whole world know you, that you see you are a bad person, you are a terrible person, you want to destabilize this country. And I'm saying this not us just because of the Constitution, because some of us saw 1979, 83 with our eyes. And before 79, we saw it. And usually when some of the MPs who don't seem to agree that it should go this way, when there is, instability and there is takeover, MPs are the first to suffer. MPs are the first. And so mine is that if you listen to this tape, what these people were discussing was simply to destabilize this country. Because if you say, put me as an IGP, allegedly, when I become the IGP, we will use ways and means to break the 8. Somewhere along the tape, you contradict yourself by saying that the president is not a listening president. It means that you might have had some disagreement with your IGP. And therefore, even if this president was to listen to you and made you an IGP, obviously, the president might disagree with you because we are humans. If you disagreed with the president who appointed you, are you going to scheme to create chaos and install yourself as a temporary leader, as we are seeing in other countries in the sub-region? Is that was that the plan? And so I am only doing analysis of what I've heard. And so mine is that let no one believe that this tape is one of those ordinary tapes where you say, don't record, don't do this. This has to do, recording these people is part of the constitutional, what the Constitution says we should do. Because what they did, if we had gone to 2024, and probably, I mean, allegedly, maybe these persons have been put in place to be in charge of the police service, what would happen? And were we going to have a situation where, you know, these two big parties, NPP, MPP, they are at each other's throat. NDC will not agree, MPP will not agree. The police will stand and watch. And when they begin to butcher, we begin, you know, citizens will begin to butcher themselves, then some people will come in. Also remember, 1966 coup, who are the people who were involved? It was the police and the military. It was the police. This was a joint coup that ousted, president, the first Republican president. And so mine is that let's be very circumspect. A probe is important. And if you look at the terms of reference, the Right Honorable Speaker, one of its significant is to make recommendations for reforms in terms of probably how an IGP is supposed to be informed and all is supposed to be reformed, is supposed to be appointed and all that. It is important for us to do this, Alfred. If we don't do this, and we see this as one of those concerns, no. If you've listened to everything, there are some other, tapes I have seen, I've listened to, and, some of them very injurious to the safety and security of this country. Very bad.
Dr. Bona,
and you ask yourself, these are senior citizens who are discussing how not to probably, let's not just say they wanted to break the 8, but how to break this country into pieces. So we can't just say, oh, leave it. For now, it's alleged. It's allegedly, we are alleging. But I'm sure after the probe, the report will let us know. I am not saying it is true or not, but the probe will let us know whether these people, we can now, identify them, and they will come and confirm, because there are some videos I've seen, there are a lot of things I've seen.
But Dr. Bona, in fact, there's been that concern as well, that if you look at these, listen to these officers on the tape, scheming to have, allegedly, to have their own in there, and considerations about the age of this IGP. If things remain, all things being equal, he has a number of years, more years to be in service as IGP, and so scheming to have their own in there. It brings about that conversation about influence peddling and scheming, and how that impacts on the service itself. These are people within the service and allegedly a top hierarchy of the service. How does this also impact on the police administration itself? And would an in-service inquiry deal with this?
It's difficult because this has to do with the IGP himself. He's the chief constable here. A police inquiry wouldn't have been bad, but if a police inquiry comes in and indicts these people and says that they are they found them to be guilty, the obvious sentiment you would hear is that what were we expecting? If the inquiry on the other way finds them not to be guilty, the sentiment will be, they are even too afraid to tell us what the obvious. So for me, I think that if there has to be any more probes, maybe the Minister of the Interior, he's done very well with probes. You remember Aswanse, when they instituted a probe, the persons who were killed were exonerated, and families were what do you call it, compensated. I won't say adequately. No amount of money can compensate for lost life. When you look at Ejura, after this Ejura Bruhaha, he put in a committee, and they came out, and I think the victims of the Ejura carnage have been compensated. The other way around, Iowa West Wagon, unfortunately, still a dent on our democracy. The persons who were injured, some of them have become like vegetables at home. They can't go out and fend for their families. No compensation has yet been paid to them. And so I will say, standing on that, I will say that it would have been good, apart from the bipartisan probe that the Right Honorable Speaker has put in place, which I support, and almost all my colleagues, those of us who speak on security matters, we support. The Interior Minister can also institute a ministerial committee, put a ministerial inquiry in place, so that let's have the two. Maybe that will help us. But for me, I will say that let's not just limit this to the Ghana Police Service. If the moment you narrow it to the Ghana Police Service, then we might be doing a lot of disservice to our constitution and to our democracy. Because the moment you say, bring me in, and you talk about, if you take 100 police officers, 2 of them will be the people who will be in support of the IGP. We want to know, who are these officers, 99 or 98% of the officers, who these officers are in bed with, who will help them to break this country into pieces, and not, I mean, as for me, I don't, breaking the AIDS, an IGP, unless, of course, you know something we don't know of, which we are interested in knowing. It is rather breaking the country, and the Constitution, let me reiterate, enjoins us to put our lives down in defense of this Constitution. And so I want the MPs, because especially our MPs, we revere them. This issue, if, for instance, there was any chaos, our MPs, I mean, at least I'm old enough to have seen a few of the coups in this country. And I'm sure peacetime Ghana, we don't want to have that. But those of us who saw them, the MPs, you are told, directed to report yourself to the nearest police station for your own safety. And what happens? They ransack your house. You have some soldiers running and beating people, killing people. This is not what we want to go. We know what is going on in Senegal. We know what has taken place in Burkina Faso. The whole of the sub-region. Ghana is the only country standing. So for me, this bipartisan probe is important. We cannot pronounce these people guilty by way of media statement. A bipartisan probe, I believe, will let us know what happened. And I do believe, just like the respected Martin Pebu said, the court will take each case, it will take them case by case. Some people say certain things, and they were recorded, and the court deemed them to be injurious to this country. And those evidence have been adduced in court, and they are going through, they are having their day in court. So I think that let's be a bit patient, wait for the committee to be put together, but we shouldn't just say, oh, there's nothing to it, some person paid for. Me, I will sell, if I have 10 houses, I'll sell them to record you if you invite me to come and help you break this country into pieces. I will do it anytime. That I want to put that in place, so that those who are listening to me, never should you ever invite me to help you to destroy this country, because I will record you.
Dr. Adam Bona, thank you.
We should be
thank you very much.
Recorded this.
Thank you very much for this intervention. Appreciate it. Dr. Adam Bona is a security analyst on this. Honorable Habib Idris, finally, so we need to round up and move on, because because of this interest of Parliament and the recommendations for a committee to be established.
Yes.
That would also help us answer questions about the authenticity or otherwise of what we have on this leak tape, is it not?
Yes. Before even I get to that, I am very disappointed by the statement made by Dr. Bona and then Martin Pebu, to the effect that they are encouraging people to go ahead and record people, whilst he is the same person, Martin Pebu, who have read Article 18 clause 2. It's rather unfortunate. If it happens, it happened. But you don't. And then for a learned person to say that I'm going to, even if I have to sell my houses to record people and other things, that is very unfortunate. And it's not good for our listeners, for us to be encouraging people to go ahead to record people. Because when you do that, you are indirectly telling people to even set people up and record them and get them to. So that's why I'm saying that it's rather unfortunate. But you see, my good friend Sammy, I mean my colleague here, we did not just have only Asim North by-election. So don't when you are talking and you are running away from Kumawu, as if you were not defeated in Kumawu, as if you were not in Kumawu, as if you didn't lose miserably in Kumawu. It was, no, but I'm saying, our numbers also increased in Kumawu. Go and look at the numbers. So, was Asim North MPP seat? Was Asim North MPP seat before the
presidential?
It was Asim.
You won the presidential.
Gentlemen, no. You see, we are going for, no, I haven't finished.
Listen, in the last election.
So can I make my point? You see, it's 4 against 1 here. So let me when I get my chance to speak, let me. Oh no, but you are all on with the same line, and the way you are talking, including our revered host and Dr. Bono. Now it's now 5 against 1. So let me make my point. My point here is that
when you go to
my point, we are not. Listen, we are not going. MPP will not go to opposition, and I want to make it clear. I want to make it clear to Sami that we don't need. MPP don't need the IGP to be able to break the 8. In 2000, MPP didn't taste power for 30 years before 2000 election. Neither did we have anybody in the security services before 2000. But we were able to win 2000 election. Listen, from military rule, until we come to 1992 democracy, 8 years before MPP came into power in 2000, we didn't have the support of the IGP. What about in 2016 election? John Mahama was the sitting president. And he has the IGP and everything. But we're able to win the election unprecedented. Over 1 million votes that has never happened in the... Listen, so what I am simply trying to say is that we don't need IGP to win this election. The most important thing is that I have seen the work of the IGP, somebody who has lived in abroad before, and I actually... You know, I am very happy with some of the things that he do, the police visibility, the kind of, even members of parliament, he stops us sometimes. Sometimes as a government whip, I will see that my MP is being stopped. The IGP want to, you know, take actions, and then we need to talk to him, but he said he need to he has to do his job. But you see, sometimes when we are speaking, I mean, you were exposing the IGP. You said your chairman came out riding a motorbike, and it was not registered, and the IGP stopped him and seized the motorbike. Yes. Martin Kego, is that the law? Did he send him to court? Did he prosecute him? Or is it the law that when you are riding an unregistered motor, they should seize the motorbike, but the person who is riding it shouldn't be taken to court? That is totally wrong. No, you don't know. Listen,
he was asked to report.
You see,
what I'm saying. He reported at the police station.
What I'm trying to say is that, you see,
know your facts.
Listen, Sammy, what I'm trying to say is that the committee that the president, the Speaker of Parliament have set up, it's a very good committee for us moving forward.
He said it was useless.
What will be the impulse of the outcome of whatever the committee is
very important.
Definitely.
So you
no, I haven't made it. I said that from where I sit, I respect every decision that the speaker takes. And as a leader of parliament, he leads me in that institution. Anything he do, I need to comply. And I'm saying that he has given us within a week for us to bring 3-3 and a technical person for us to look at it. But at the end of the day,
you may not send your name.
No, I'm saying that the caucus will meet.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Gentlemen, it's a ruling of the speaker.
Well, thank you very much.
So now you have just confirmed the fact that it is 4 against 1 here. Somebody is interjecting here, somebody is interjecting. So allow me to also speak for the 4 voices that we have. But because you are making points, listen, they are making points that...
I've not said anything.
No, Prof, you haven't said anything. You haven't said anything yet because you have other people. But the point must be clear that the point must be clear that we in the MPP, we don't have a problem against the IGP. We support his work. We admire what he's doing. We admire the reforms that he's doing. And Sami should not think that we need him to win 2024 election. We are going to break the 8. NDC is already incompetent. The John Mahama you are bringing was president before.
You see,
he was president before. We saw exactly what he did. He's not a newcomer. So when you talk about if Akufo-Addo is not bringing reform, there is no worst performing president.
I thought you were concerned about the case in the Supreme Court against you.
No, there's no case against you. I haven't
Thank you, gentlemen. Lawyer Martin Pebu, 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 Lawyer, your microphone is off. Lawyer, Thank you. Lawyer.
No, listen, he has mentioned a certain statement, and I am telling you that I am going to take action on it based on this record. Because the point is that you said I was convicted in Australia. That's what he said. And he said there is a case against me. And I see I'm very disappointed in the law. No, but the point is that I was. Sorry, you are okay. Yeah. But the point is that have I been found guilty of any court of competent?
Gentlemen,
have I been found guilty of any court of
nothing to do with the conversation that we are having.
So if he doesn't withdraw it now, I'll take action against him. I'm telling him. Because the point is that you cannot sit down here and make reckless statements. You cannot sit down here and make some stupid comments. To the best of my knowledge, I haven't been
it's in the public domain.
It's in public doesn't mean that I'm convicted by court of public opinion. Okay. So you don't sit down here and make this stupid and reckless statements. No, I'm serious. If you cannot tell me that I still, you are not offended by that. They call it system of parliament like that. You are not offended by that. He said that.
Lawyer.
No. What kind of nonsense is that?
Please. Hold on.
Yes. What kind of nonsense is that?
Hold on. Okay. So let me, Lawyer Matipebo, for the respect and benefit of our viewers, because the statement you made had nothing to do with what we were having the conversation on today. I would want you to kindly withdraw that, because it didn't have anything to do with the topic that we're discussing today. Just for the benefit of our viewers and for the respect of this platform, with all due respect. With all due respect.
Okay, withdraw.
Please.
I don't, Honorable, this matter. Well,
he said he's withdrawn.
No,
yes, I said withdrawn. You say for that.
You need to apologize.
Thank you. We'll go for a quick break. Listen, we'll go for a quick break. Have some understanding. We'll be back shortly after this quick break. Stay with us.
Discover boundless horizons at Heritage Christian College.
And I'm Mantibi, and in my baby, and in my baby. Almost a baby came one. Almost a bar way on your bar or set or bar for.
We're going to scrutinize every bachelor that comes on this show. Your money is our money, my money is my money.
Did you get it?
Yes. I'm here to win the husband material. My mom tells me I'm the best man anyone can have because she personally prepared me for that.
Equally, you're also very neat in the kitchen.
So rare to see a man that can cook.
Food is love. Simple.
Is he hot?
He's hot.
If I feel insecure about your female friends and I tell you not to hang out with them anymore, are you going to do it or you're not going to do it?
This marriage will not happen.
JPS Communications, in partnership with Sunny FM and Sunny TV, with support from Superfarm Network, presents Comic and Comedy.
If you want to know the number of years a man is married, ask about his wife. The way you will respond determines the number of years. If it's 1 year, 2 years, you ask him, big man, how is your wife? Excuse me, you mean my lovely-dovey baby, lovely-dovey wife? After 5 years, how is your wife? She's good. 10 years, how is your wife?
Performing on this big stage are Obian Ponsa, Clemento Suarez, General Tatia, Jacinta, Foster Romanus, Lexi the Comic, Efia Barcelona, Putogo, introducing Ya Enima with Honorable Mikyose Beko and Honorable Fritz Bafo as guest of honor. Venue, National Theatre. Date, Saturday the 22nd of July and Sunday the 23rd of July. Time, 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. each day. Rate is 150 Ghana cedis for standard and 250 Ghana cedis for VIP. Dial *713*003# to purchase your tickets on all networks or call 0552 300075. Sponsored by Ebony Condoms, Secure, Blue Band and Series. Media partners.
In fact, she went through a lot to have what she wanted. And yet,
she's unable to do anything.
So he went out of the room and he came back in some few minutes and he brought a basin of snakes and he poured the snakes on me.
Oh my God.
She went in there blindly. If you don't know the source of somebody's resources, don't even try going there.
People shouldn't be more interested in the output, but they should be interested in what they know that it is right for them to do.
The
truth matter is, no successful person would literally come out to say, okay, guys, this is what I really do. Your secret is your power. So most of the people we think are successful, we think are genuine, you don't know what they do behind the scenes.
And what kind of snake is this?
This is the royal python.
Oh, Osafukoto, keep them with you. They are your family members.
Confessions shows on Saturdays at 9:30 p.m. on TV3.
Brought to you by
MTN.
Ghana, brace yourselves for another electrifying season of Ghana's Most Beautiful. Thousands of hopefuls from every corner of the country flock to the audition zones, showcasing their unique talents and charm. It's an emotional roller coaster as dreams come true and the chosen ones prepare to embark on a transformational adventure. Our esteemed panel of judges, industry experts, and cultural icons will be present every step of the way to help these extraordinary women define their future. The stage is set for an unforgettable season filled with enchantment, passion, and the celebration of Ghanaian culture. So mark your calendars and join the live show from July 16, 8 p.m. here on TV3.
Ghana's Most Beautiful, premiering this Sunday, 16 July at 8 p.m. on TV3.
GMB 2023 is sponsored by Gino Tomato Mix, GTP, Techno Camon 20 Series, AT, Sankofa Spices, Bell Pack Tissues, Vitamilk, Deluxy Acrylic Paint, Nescafe Black Tonic, Heaven Black Mosquito Spray and Coil, Enapa Foods, Freedom from Casapreco, Top Choco.
Welcome to another fun, exciting, and educative episode of the Kids Arena. Happy TGIS. Thank God it's Saturday.
We now have our word of the week, and it is 3 days.
Okay, so I'm Hepzibah Ekwia Ampechu. I love painting.
When you paint, how do people get to see it?
Through school exhibitions, church, friends, and family.
Right behind me, I'm here at the Marina Mall, and it's all about the 3FM Baby Fest.
It is us. La 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 la.
Action speaks.
This is us.
Kids Arena shows Saturdays at 10 a.m. on TV3. Don't miss it.
Are you ready? This will be another exciting episode of Ghana's Strongest, and this coming weekend we find ourselves at the Fitness One Gym at the One Airport Square here in Accra, bringing you an eviction episode of Ghana's Strongest. 9 men will stand, but 8 will battle it out to get into the next episode of the season's Ghana's Strongest. It means 1 man gets evicted. Who will it be? 4 different challenges, 2 novelties. It will be exciting. So catch this episode on TV3 this Sunday at 4 p.m. It will be fiery, it will be exciting, it will be entertaining. So let's see who goes home this weekend.
Catch the new season of Ghana's Strongest this Sunday at 4 p.m. only on TV3. Ghana's Strongest is powered by Gasem, the nation builder. Brought to you by Mixi Choco, Channel Hot,
Deluxy Acrylic Paint,
Drugnet.
Welcome to another fun, exciting, and educative episode of the Kids Arena.
Happy TGIS.
Thank God it's Saturday.
We now have our word of the week, and it is 3 days.
Okay, so I'm Hepzibah Ekwia Ampechu. I love painting.
When you paint, how do people get to see it?
Through school exhibitions, church, friends, and family.
behind me. I'm here at the Marina Mall, and it's all about the 3FM Baby Fair.
It is us. La 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 la.
Action speaks.
Kids Arena shows Saturdays at 10 a.m. on TV3. Don't miss it.
Discover boundless horizons at Heritage Christian College.
Welcome back. This is Key Point here on TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also live on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, DSTV channel 279, all across the world on 3news.com. Now, before we went for that quick break, there was a statement that was made, which I implored on Martin Kpebu to withdraw. And Honorable Habib Idris is still with us in studio. Martin Kpebu, for the benefit of this platform and the respect we have for our viewers, I would want you to withdraw this statement that you made earlier and apologize to the Honorable Habib Idris for the greater good.
Oh, but it's already withdrawn. So I withdrew it before, though, I mean, we all know that it's a court case. So, Honorable, well, notwithstanding that the matter is pending in court, you say you are ahead. I'm sorry. But let's deal with the matter in court, then we'll get to the bottom of it. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Okay. Well, yes, that's settled. Honorable Habib Idris, it's settled. Thank you. We'll move on. Professor,
today you've been very
Professor Jampo,
emotional.
In 30 seconds. No.
All right, no, I just
yes.
wanted to make a clarification here about the parliamentary probe, which earlier I said was unnecessary. As an academic, I give in to superior wisdom.
Right.
I've listened to my colleagues, and Honorable himself also was doing a certain U-turn, and I've also listened to Adam Bona, who is an expert in that area, who believes that the parliamentary probe is necessary. And so then I'm inclined to go with them because I think they've given tangible explanations to why they think that the parliamentary probe to this matter is important. And I give in to superior wisdom.
Right. Let's still stay in Parliament because, and just a quick one on the issues in Parliament, so we'll move on to the next. The Speaker of Parliament this week did not admit, Mr. Blakwa, to your call as minority to have your absence in Parliament admitted as with permission, with this resolve that you have made to always boycott Parliament whenever any of your three colleagues appear before court. James Achekwesen was in court this week, and also we have the minority leader, Dr. Kesla Tuforsen, and then also Collins Dauda. Now, regardless of the Speaker's position, you still boycotted Parliament yesterday. I saw you in court.
Yes.
Why?
Well, so I made that application seeking the guidance of the Right Honourable Speaker because we observe that anytime we boycott, even though we have stated the reason, by parliamentary practice, when you state your reason, it serves as a notice to the Speaker and to the House, because on the day the Honourable Achekwesen was sworn in, our leader served notice that based on what had transpired over the period during the campaign in Asinov, where the President stated categorically that Honourable Kwesen is jail-bound, and that why do the Asinov people want to vote for somebody who is going to prison? Can he be MP from prison and all of that? Very prejudicial and reckless statements. So our leader said, based on that, it appears that this is just a kangaroo trial, and we are going to ratchet up, increase the solidarity. Previously, some of us will join him, some will stay in the house for business to continue. But the leader decided that we will up the ante now, and all of us will go, we will boycott the proceedings. Remember that in the parliamentary democratic toolkit, in the basket, boycotts are part of what members of parliament across the world use. Walkouts are part of it. The current president himself, when he was a member of parliament, engaged in a lot of boycotts and walkouts. Recently, I recall in the United States of America when the Indian Prime Minister Modi went on a state visit and was scheduled to address Congress. The young Congresswoman Cortez staged a boycott because she said that she was not happy with how minorities are being treated in India. So the world over, boycotts are used. So I was quite unhappy that having served notice, the votes and proceedings was capturing us as absent. And I raised that because of the effect of Article 97 of the Constitution, where after 15 sittings, if you have missed 15 sittings, anybody can make an application to the Speaker for your seat to be declared vacant. So I thought that we settled the matter so that we are not ambushed or taken by surprise after having missed 15 sittings, then somebody applies to the Speaker that our seat should be declared vacant. You know, our opponents can be quite ruthless when it comes to these matters. So it was a preemptive strike to get the Speaker to make a ruling so that there will be some clarity. I thought that having served notice, we should be captured under absent with permission, so that in that case, then our seats cannot be declared vacant after missing 15 sittings. But the Speaker ruled that if you read carefully Article 97(1)(c), serving notice verbally cannot apply, because let me quote Article 97(1)(c) just for our elucidation. It says that a member of Parliament shall vacate his seat in Parliament. C says, if he is absent without the permission in writing of the Speaker, and he is unable to offer a reasonable explanation to the Parliamentary Committee on Privileges from 15 sittings of a meeting of Parliament during any period that Parliament has been summoned to meet and continues to meet. So the Speaker says that, so far as his records are concerned, we haven't written. Because it's an express provision that without the permission in writing. So the fact that our minority leader served notice verbally to him does not count. It doesn't meet the constitutional requirement of writing. So we now have the choice of writing to the Speaker. And when we write to the Speaker, then we can now be captured as absent with permission, you know, with a reason, so that then that 15-day count cannot occur, and then we don't lose our seats, or our seats are not declared vacant. But more fundamentally, I think that all of this, the boycotts, the Speaker's ruling and all of that, at the heart of what is going on is these trials. Honestly speaking, particularly in the matter of Honorable Kwesi, after the seat was declared vacant, he was injuncted for about 15 months. The Asinov people have spoken with a much wider margin. And look at the groundswell, I mean, the caliber of persons who have appealed to the president that the Attorney General must be instructed to file a nolle prosequi. I mean, this is a country that can file nolle prosequi for Aisha Juan, who set out to virtually destroy our environment, our water bodies. Nolle prosequi was filed. She was purportedly taken out of the country. When I tracked, she never arrived in China and then found her way back. She's now being tried again. We filed nolle prosequi for people who enter a courtroom. You remember those tags in Kumasi, and attack a sitting judge. A nolle prosequi was filed. Honorable Kwesi, this harmless, nice, affable man who never intended to violate our constitution, applied more than a year, December 2019, to renounce his citizenship. The application came 26 November 2020, before the elections, days before the elections. It wasn't like in the case of Sakande, who concealed it, hid it, didn't tell anybody, was still traveling on his UK passport until a vigilant citizen, and again, leaks, the advantage of leaks, why we need more leaks to expose wrongdoers. Long live leaks and leakers. So in this, yes. So yes. So it strengthens our democracy, and we have look even in my parliamentary oversight. You think that all what we do, National Cathedral, presidential travel, chartered jets, you think without leaks, without insiders who care about the country. That's why I don't think everybody on the NPP side is a bad guy. Some are good. They have the country at heart. They can say it themselves, so they leak, and then we take it up. You know, so long live the leakers. We salute all you leakers. Keep it up. It's good. That's why we have a Whistleblowers Act. And we are even seeking to strengthen the act so that we can have more whistleblowing and more leak. So let me come back to the substantive point. So Domahini has spoken. You have heard the chiefs of Ase North. I recall last Sunday at the Thanksgiving service, they made a passionate appeal to the president. We have heard the MPP's own Ayikwe Otu, a former Attorney General, senior member of the bar, who are all appealing to the president that instruct the Attorney General to file a nolle prosequi. We have seen it being filed in more, instances which we were even outraged as a people. We couldn't understand the use of that discretion. So why can't you just stop the political persecution so that we can ease the tension? So why we are boycotting is to raise the matter, draw attention, because you see, in a democracy, if you feel strongly about something, you must protest. That's why you saw what our brother did with Komi Prekun Reloaded. You know, these are all democratic tools.
Okay, but
so really, those who are asking us, it's like, I'm surprised that the pressure rather is coming on us, the MPs. It should be on the president. Stop the political, especially as you yourself. You have gone to misspeak. You've gone to let the cat out of the bag.
But
you've told all of us that this is...
The other concern there is that your colleagues, reason why you are not in parliament, as we are seeing these empty seats, is because leadership instructed that all of you should be in court whenever any of your colleagues appear.
Yes.
What we observed yesterday is that apart from you and a few others who were in court yesterday, a number of your colleagues were nowhere to be found, and they were also not in parliament. So where were they?
You see, it's interesting that you want to put the spotlight only on our side. Are you aware that yesterday the House was adjourned? From what I wasn't in the House, I was in court, but what I read and what I listened to the news, even your network, the House was forced to adjourn because only 15 MPs from the MPP side was there. The MPP side, because a quorum in parliament is 1/3, they have the numbers to form a quorum. But anytime we walk out, they can't form a quorum. They are following Baumia all over the place. It appears that nobody is concerned about that. They say, oh, don't pay the NDC MPs. But nobody is talking about nobody is talking about the MPP MPs who can't form a quorum, who don't come to the House. So yes, there is a fair question in terms of you couldn't count 137 in court. I'm not sure even the courtroom can take all 137 MPs. What matters is that, if you've noticed, there are quite a number who alternate. So if you are going today, another day, another group will come. What matters is that we are all in solidarity. Sometimes, if you have observed, some don't find seats in the courtroom. So when we are about to address the press, they then come and join us. Because there are definitely logistical challenges. Not every MP can get a seat. And we don't want to appear to be stampeding the courts. We are not like those Delta forces or whatever they are called.
So that's the strategy that you're employing.
So if we are concerned about, you see, I think that the more dangerous elements are those who don't announce that they are boycotting, but then they follow a presidential candidate all over the place, and then the House is not able to sit.
Let me go on because you are deputy majority chief whip.
Thank you, Sami. In fact, you try to explain the issues and other things, and I'm in a very difficulty when I'm handling this issue because I'm a whip and I need to still persuade my colleagues to sit in parliament. So to come out and condemn them always is a problem. But I think we are setting a very bad precedent for our democracy. A bad precedent in the sense that, minus the issue of Kwesi, the minority leader, Atu Forson, and then our senior Collins Dauda. They have been in court, not today. I think Collins Dauda have been in court over 4 years now. Atu
forcing to close to 2 years now, but it was never the case that they are boycotting parliaments as a result that they are in court. And then now question issue come in, they have done with the other part of it, then they are looking at the criminal aspect of the case. If we do that, we are hurting our democracy very badly. Badly in a sense that, like yesterday, in fact, Sammy, I think your information was wrong. We didn't adjourn because we didn't have, or there were only 15 people. We adjourned because we had finished whatever business we needed to do yesterday. Because yesterday the business statement was presented, and I know very well that for the number of years that
only 15
for the number of years that I have been in Parliament, I haven't seen that there's a business statement that has been read and Sammy is in the chamber. I will not ask question or try to find out something. But yesterday, it was missing completely out. You were not there. The number of questions, what had been programmed, what we are going to do next week. It means that our colleagues in the minority didn't have the opportunity to be able to ask questions for us to make changes, additions, and other things into the business statement. So definitely what will happen next week means that we in the majority have just taken the decision as to what to do. And it is not healthy, because you will see that next week maybe somebody is expecting a certain question to come, somebody is expecting a minister to respond from our colleagues in the minority, then they begin to ask questions. But if they had at least leave some people behind so that they will be able to help us to pass the business statement going. But you see, the case of Adamu Sekande, it's not different from what is happening to Kwesi. You see, and that is the problem. There's nothing wrong, because it's the same. The part is that the idea was that the time Adamu Sekande was filing his nomination to be the member of parliament for Boku Central, he did not denounce his citizenship. Then the case is that the time Kwesi was also filing his nomination to represent the good people of Asim North, he did not denounce his Canadian citizenship.
More than a year.
No, but the point is that, Sammy, we don't have to dwell on this, because there's a court ruling on it, and a by-election has been happened to that effect. It's a settled matter, because there's a court ruling, there's a judgment, and then it has been settled. So what is in court now is the criminal part of it. But the part whether he denounced or not was settled by the court that he did not. And that's why we had that by-election. But in the case of Adamu Sekande, after the seat was also declared vacant, his criminal charges also went on, and he was convicted and jailed until John Mahama gave him, I think he spent 2 years in prison before President Mahama gave him a pardon, or the NDC government, if I'm not too sure whether it was Professor Mills or John Mahama, then he was given a presidential pardon. But he was equally jailed, and he was also a member of parliament representing the good people of Boku. We did not, on the side of the MPP at that time, say that we are not coming to court because Adamu Sekande is in court, or we are not coming to parliament because Adamu Sekande is in court. And at that time, we did not also say that we won't come to parliament because there is a wild, there is a witch hunting, or they are hunting him, or there is a kangaroo court somewhere that he's been tried on, and other things. We did not. So the most important thing is that in the case of Atu Forson, in the case of Collins Dauda, these are public, or these are officers that the public entrust on them, that they were ministers, they were deputy ministers, and for them to be tried in court, they are still innocent until proven otherwise guilty. So you cannot say that because of that we are not coming to court. What message are we sending to the people out there? That if you are an MP and you have been made a minister or a deputy minister, you are above the law. What are we telling the people? That if you are an MP and you are made a minister or a deputy minister, when they send you to court, then government business will not move on. You see,
with what happened in Parliament yesterday, based on the records that our parliamentary correspondent reported, the Speaker asked if you are sure no business can actually be done before adjournment, correct?
Okay, so yesterday...
Did the Speaker
No, I moved the motion for adjournment yesterday. I was in the chamber, and I moved the motion for the House to be adjourned yesterday, and then the Speaker asked that question. But what happened yesterday was that the business, when we come, there are 3 things we normally do, especially on Friday, which are critical. After prayers and vote and proceedings, the business statement is very critical. What was left on the other paper yesterday was motions to be moved by ministers. And if you recall, some of the ministers, they are on cabinet retreat.
And then the other thing that needed to be done was a public accounts report, about 4 different reports that was ready. But the chairman of the public accounts is on the other side. That is Kwame Agboji. Aveji. But Aveji. James Aveji. So Aveji was not in the chamber as the minority were not in the chamber. So he could not move the motion for...
I see. But what was your response to the speaker's question after you moved the motion?
When I moved the motion, the speaker then asked that, are we sure we don't have anything? And I said, Mr. Speaker, today is Friday, and we have been able to do what we think is very necessary.
I heard Professor Kingsley Nyako speaking on the floor and discussing quorum. And that we should be.
So what happened? So
in fact, that's why
criticizing us.
So let me. I was in Parliament, so that's why I'm giving the clarity. The point that Professor Nyako spoke was after the business statement was presented, and then there was an issue of extended sitting. That we always have extended sitting and other things. And he was saying that the extended sitting is not necessary because the point is that if we start 10 o'clock on the dot, we should be able to finish the business that we are doing before there's an extended sitting. But it should not be the case that we are adding extended sitting because, no, I'm coming, because our colleagues, I also said something about it, because our colleagues are not in the chamber. For that matter, we should be doing extended sitting. And I said that we are not the reason why our colleagues in the other side are not in the chamber. And for that matter, it cannot be used on the basis of that. In fact, it was 4 people who asked questions after the business statement, and then Dr. Mafu also came in, Carlos Ahinkra also came in to talk about welfare issues, and we are saying that we have programmed a committee of the whole. But their concern was that if we have programmed a committee on the whole, what about the day of the committee on the whole? Our colleagues doesn't turn up. So if you don't turn up, then what happened to the committee on the whole? To stay on the substantive issue, to run up on this, we are setting a very bad precedent. It's rather unfortunate that your party, you cannot win the 2024 election. If it was possible, then we could say that.
I didn't know you were God.
because we have overperformed. If we had, yes, if it was the case, if it was the case that you form government and then maybe some 1 or 2 ministers are sent to court and they decide not to come to Parliament and other things. But let me tell you one thing. It's rather unfortunate that you people are thinking when you are not there, we cannot do any business. Per the Supreme Court ruling, we are 138, even if one of us is presiding without the Speaker. And 138 can take a decision by the Constitution, take a decision by the standing orders that we have even reviewed. So if we have critical decisions to take, I can whip all 138 because we have whipped them before to pass. We have whipped them to pass budget, to pass ministers and other things. So we can always whip them at any
deputy
time.
Majority whip, but your members were absent. At least, do you know where they were?
I am not saying that we were having full house, but what I said is some of them. But we had the number to start the business of the day. Some of them, they were in cabinet.
Yeah, all of them.
Majority of them were in cabinet, and those who were not in cabinet are here. And some of them are out. For example, the majority leader is out. Majority leader is out, and other things. No, they are whippable.
Well, I think the point must be made that within the confines of parliamentary practice, boycotts are allowed. And if it is for a good cause, so be it. We know that Atuforsen and Collins Dada have been in courts. But I think what triggered this boycott has been the Jachi Kweshin case. And for me, I also believe what is strengthening or making the opposition or the NDC side more agitated has been the ruling on daily attendance of court, which I feel undermines the principle of representation and the wishes that the good people who are the ultimate fiduciary trust of the power that politicians seek to exercise is being undermined. The point is this. If you tell somebody to be attending court every day, and the people have also voted for the person to be representing them on the floor of Parliament every day, what are you seeking to achieve? Undermine the will of the people? And so, for me, I'm speaking against the ruling that was given earlier, which I know is being petitioned, is being appealed in other, appellate courts and then even the Supreme Court. I think that we should look at some of these things well, because I think gradually we are on the verge of a coalition course between the judicial arm of government and Parliament. But if you look at A.V. Dice's principle of checks and balances, the judicial arm of government is not superior to the legislative arm of government. Okay, so gradually we may get to the point where the courts will decide, Parliament will decide to also defy. You remember that recently, I think there was a Supreme Court ruling which I was looking at. Is it the cultivation of cannabis or something?
Yes.
The Supreme Court had ruled against it. And Parliament has also passed an amended legislation to torpedo or to overturn the ruling of the Supreme Court. That is where we are heading to. And if we do that, we are going to gradually get...
That was an amendment bill.
In fact...
but the point is that... Yes, so I'm saying that in response...
The Supreme Court's position
that in
was
response,
about the processes that Parliament used in it is not the judiciary torpedoing.
Well,
I just wanted to put it in context.
The point I'm trying to make is that gradually we are heading on a coalition course where if the legislative arm of government feels that it is being, quote unquote, undermined by certain rulings of the Supreme Court, it may also want to fight back. Okay? And like I said, the judiciary is not superior to the legislature. The legislature is also not superior to the judiciary. Okay? And so they must work hand in hand in a manner that ensures that, first of all, there is rule of law, and then also, especially in the handling of this Judge Kwesi matter, will not be seen, the judiciary will not be seen to be undermining the expression of the will, sovereign will of the people. If you say the person should be attending court sittings every day, it means that the person should not be representing the people. And so why are you clashing? Are you giving a judgment that clashes with the expression of the sovereign will of the people? For me, it doesn't make sense within the concept or confines of democratic representation. And so, if the members of Parliament would want to boycott parliamentary proceedings just to be able to articulate and ventilate this particular grievance, so be it. If government business would suffer, and the point is this, and MPP and the ruling government, I know, listen, it's a very difficult situation to continue with the criminal prosecution or not to do so. That's the question. It's a very critical question. Okay, you are to what end? Are you continuing because we will succeed in jailing the person and then there will be a by-election again, or what? I don't understand. I think that I agree with what Sami said. If on very critical national interest issues, the government, through the Attorney General, found it important to file nolle prosequi. Somebody destroying the very source of our livelihood, who should have been prosecuted.
Okay.
We looked at the relationship between Ghana and China and said, no, he should go scot-free. I mean, what would we do to ourselves? What will we succeed in achieving if we jail Judge Kwesi again? And we can't file nolle prosequi about this. I think that we should rethink our political tact and strategy, because sometimes some of these things fuse in the body politic unnecessary tension, and they don't even give the government the peace it needs to be able to govern. And so government business will continue to suffer if cool heads do not prevail, if they don't listen to some of these calls from eminent Ghanaians. And like I said, from no mean a person like Attorney General, forget about it. I said that for the sake of peace and our effort to cohesion, for the sake of government business to go on. Can we rethink this criminal prosecution, please?
Well, it is within the discretion of the Attorney General to...
Well, that's why people are calling on him. People are appealing. It's not he's doing in this particular matter would have a certain implication on the electoral fortunes of the political party that gave him the mandate to serve as Attorney General.
Professor Jampo, thank you. You made reference to an issue which we're just going to take Regulation Commission Amendment Bill 2023. The bill was necessitated because of the ruling of the Supreme Court in the case between Ezuame versus the Attorney General and the Speaker on July 27, 2022. We'll get into the details and do just quick comments on it. But Martin Kpebu, on this particular development with Parliament, Professor Jampo's concern about the boycott of the minority also impacting on the basic functioning of members of Parliament, that is the representational role. You also married that or juxtapose that with that concern, the reason why they are actually on this boycott. Where then would be the middle ground so that while they are on this path of supporting their colleagues who are facing the court, they would not also deprive their constituents of the needed representation and the reason why they are actually members of Parliament?
Okay. So going straight to the answer, then what appears to me to be reasonable is that they should negotiate. When I say negotiate, it means that possibly look at the time Parliament sits so that a Parliament can sit after the court hearings. All right, on days that there will be court hearings on the matter.
But they will not achieve any impact. They are seeking to bring pressure to bear on the president to instruct the Attorney General to file.
Let's let Martin Kpebu make his point.
Yes, so there is
I'm helping him. He's my friend.
As for saying that they should put pressure for the discontinuance, I don't want to use nolle prosequi. Let me use ordinary English so that people can follow. Yeah, though some lawyers will say, no, don't discontinue in a criminal case, say nolle prosequi. I'll use discontinue. Listen. I support it. I was one of the first people to ask for it. I mean, months ahead. I'd always been saying it. And even, several times. I even say that I intend to organize a petition to get as many thousands of citizens to sign up. I've been saying, when you Google this matter, you see me months ahead of Domahini and all these other people. Because the moment I realized or heard about the bill in Parliament asking that we repeal the law stopping dual citizens from becoming MPs, then I knew that we sound very confused in seeking to prosecute Judge Kwesi, whilst at the same time supporting a bill in Parliament. The Attorney General supports the bill in Parliament that seeks to cancel this whole thing, right? Yes, because, ex-President Mama made a comment about it a few months ago, and the AG came out and responded. So the AG made a point that the matter is before Parliament, that there's a bill, etc. And so far, from the way the bills work, the government hasn't put in an opposition to the bill. No. Yes.
So what's the point?
So excellent. So that's it. So we are very confused. So we are very confused. So for me, months ago, I've said on several platforms before these other persons have caught in. But of course, these are weightier people. And Anadoma, God bless you. I like, at this time in Ghana's development. Yes, at this time in Ghana's development, the mantra we should be using now is the one that comes from the book of Revelation, but which Dante is said to have paraphrased. That in times of moral crisis, the hottest places in hell today, or let's rephrase it, the hottest places in hell are reserved for people who in times of moral crisis maintain their neutrality. So when there are such grave moral issues, a power to prosecute which is being used in a manner that citizens think is unfair, then you have statesmen, people who ought to speak, are not speaking. So moral crisis require that people speak up. So if you don't speak up, you are strengthening the hand of the oppressor. That's my mantra now. And it's in the book of Revelations. So there are people, Christian brothers and sisters who like to look for everything in the Bible. It's there. It's in Revelation that God doesn't want lukewarm people. Either be cold or be hot. Lukewarm, you are sitting on the fence. No. This is not the time for fence sitting. step in, like the way Duncan Williams said it.
Actually, the Bible says that on the judgment, God will spew them out.
Excellent. Yes, I read it out here. It's 2 weeks ago. God will
God
spill
is
you
very
out.
appalled by such
Spit you out. So stand up. Because why are we prosecuting him at this time? When the people, and it's not just the people supporting it, but the facts of the case. For me, everything that I have to say boils down to the fact that Gyakye Kwesi's dual citizenship was raised before the election. And the EC went into it. EC looked at the law and said, oh, disqualification is not at the time of nomination, but at the time of elections. Unfortunately for him, his papers came in, renunciation papers came in November, a few weeks before the elections. So if the Supreme Court has subsequently overturned EC's interpretation, sure, at least you see the candor. There was candor. There was that openness. There was that transparency. There was that accountability. So that is the very reason why we shouldn't prosecute. Because every day you mention this Gyakye Kwesi matter, the first thing that comes to my mind is that why isn't the EC also before the court? Why are we not prosecuting EC? Why are we not prosecuting EC with Gyakye Kwesi?
Okay.
You see, then so, yes, so the first part of your question has to say...
EC doesn't interpret the Constitution.
Please,
so
the EC is the regulator.
So don't say that EC doesn't have the right constitutionally to interpret the
Very good, but the EC...
court.
Yeah, but EC allowed him. It's okay, let me make. So the EC cleared him. It's the EC that put him on.
Yeah.
So why didn't the EC say, okay, then do you know what, let's stop this matter and go to the Supreme Court? They didn't go. The EC looked at it and it was easy, cheesy. The EC just said, oh, this is an open and shut case. The EC saw Gyakye Kwesi's eligibility as open and shut. So they went, when they looked at it, said, oh, he qualifies, and cleared him. So if subsequently a Supreme Court decision says he's not qualified.
The same thing happened to Adamu.
Okay.
No, Adamu was hiding the passport.
No,
Adamu was in parliament and traveling.
Until someone trigger it, you cannot know someone have other citizenship.
No, Adamu was...
Right, you've made your point.
Oh,
yes, round up. No, I want you to...
Yeah, it's okay.
He has to do that based on my discretion.
Okay,
he cannot interrupt your presentations. That's what I want to avoid.
The interactions don't bother. They strengthen. It makes the banter so that we can know what I
so that you don't your thoughts are not truncated.
No, I'm fine.
Yes, please.
Yes, so you see, Adamu Sakande was in parliament and still traveling on Burkinabe passport, UK passports, etc. You read the Supreme Court decisions, they are there. He was holding 3 passports, Ghana, Burkinabe, UK. He hid them. Here is Gyakye Kwesi, who renounced, presented his papers well ahead of the election. So the two cases are not the same.
Okay.
So when citizens sit up, so I support the MPs boycotting parliament to be able to put pressure. We have to speak up. This is our democracy. Why are we being so timid? Right. Is that how Kwame Nkrumah won independence for us? Okay. And don't worry, let me make this last point. Yeah. That it's also normal that as we call for the prosecution to be truncated, it's also normal for other citizens to say, no, just apply the red letter, this black and white letter of the law. Because even if you check, during our march to independence, whilst Kwame Nkrumah was looking for independence, J.B. Dankwa, Buzi and Co. went to England. They went and told the Queen that we are not ready for independence. We don't want independence.
Thank you.
Yet, this is Ghana. So we always have diverse opinions.
I'll stay with you because of
some information. The information has to do with the fact that the parliamentary amendments and other things, the day you were not in parliament, or you were there, I think the speaker have referred it to a committee.
The standing orders?
No, not the standing orders. I mean, to look at allowing dual citizens to be able to represent. So it was
that bill.
The constitutional amendment.
The constitutional amendment bill. The bill has been referred to
the
committee. But the difficulty people don't know. I have been in that shoes. I mean, sometimes if you have a position and you have something you think you should do in future, you don't even get yourself mad. As of 2009, I was qualified to be an Australian citizen. But I have never applied for it because I will know that I wanted to be an MP. So I've prepared myself for that. I have been, even as I sit now, I'm still a permanent resident of Australia. I have an indefinite stay in Australia, but I have never taken their citizenship. So until we have a law, people should be guided that you don't even need to get yourself muddy into some of this thing, that you have to go to court now. We are talking and setting back precedent for ourselves.
Thank you very much for your comment on this. I'm staying with Parliament because a number of things happen, and just briefly, briefly, because Professor Jampo mentioned this Narcotics Regulation Commission Amendment Bill 2023. You recall that the Supreme Court ruled on the case between Ezuame versus the Attorney General and the Speaker of Parliament, which was brought, in fact, at the Supreme Court on July 2022. In the said ruling, the Apex Court declared, which I have a copy of, that Section 43 of Act 1019 is unconstitutional and therefore null and void. This was in a 4-3 majority decision. The 7-member panel of the Apex Court held that Section 43 violated Article 106 of the 1992 Constitution, which detailed the processes a bill must go through before it is passed into law by Parliament, and was therefore null and void. Well, in fact, it was the basis of that, Professor Jampo, that the Supreme Court took that decision as against what Parliament had done. What has happened now is that the minister has now been given the powers, in fact, regained the power to grant the cultivation license for marijuana medicinal purposes. This is the Minister of Interior. Now, this new bill amends the Narcotics Commission Act 2020, Act 1019. We'll put a few things on the screen now, but Lawyer Martin Kpebu, would you agree with the concern that some have raised? And I've heard the likes of Angel Kabonu say that what were the cases or the points advanced by those who support this to now influence Parliament's decision that this has to go through, if we know that we have very weak monitoring mechanisms for our regulations, and people can actually take advantage of this to perpetuate other forms of businesses that go contrary to the cultivation of marijuana for medicinal purposes? Lawyer.
Good. So the first point, there are a number of them, but the first, okay, so I'll list them and then try, if there's time, we can explain further. So number one, to cultivate, you need a license from the minister. And to get a license, so many requirements. Number two, it still remains a law that if you cultivate narcotics without a license, it's a crime, and the punishment is quite stiff, right? Commercial cultivation, etc. A lot of the narcotic offenses, you are looking at a minimum of 10 years. Usually, a judge has no discretion in those ones, except now there's the plea bargaining, etc. In that same Act 1019, where if, let's say, the courier can give information for the arrest of this mastermind or the principal, then he can get, what do you call it, a reduction in the sentence, etc. But generally, the sentences are very stiff, very scary. So I'm thinking that with more education by the Narcotics Control Commission, it will stay the same. People will be aware that the cultivation is not this for everybody to do it anyhow. No, it's going to be regulated, right? And you know, because we are in dire straits, our economy is in a deep crater. From the figures I'm hearing about the money that's made worldwide from the cultivation of these narcotics, which are used for so many products, including hair products, medicines, etc., it looks very tempting, right? Yes, so for me, as long as the licenses will be regulated in such a manner that the ones that will be cultivated are strictly for the industrial use, let's go for it. Let's go for it. And let's clarify. You see, the Supreme Court decision, all the Supreme Court was seeking to do was, I would say that cultivation provision was not part of the bill from the beginning. At the time it went to cabinet, etc., these weren't part. So it wasn't part of the government policy from the get-go.
Right.
So it appeared to have been smuggled in whilst they were in Parliament. Of course, that's not the only time that parliamentarians have made additions and the rest. But, you know, in a democracy, it's a Supreme Court that has a final say. They look at it and they saw that this is a very weighty matter. And don't forget that we are still very largely conservative as a society. So most segments of our society don't support Obonsam Tower, right? Weed. No, cultivation of weed No, you will be upsetting our society, the very foundations of our society. We don't support that. So I should think that conservative, atmosphere, that conservative climate we have, all fed into it. So that the Supreme Court said, look, this is a very weighty matter. If you want to cultivate weed openly, hey, let's be sure that Cabinet saw it, deliberated upon it, and then they thought that that's a wise decision to take to help Ghana out of its economic doldrums. Okay, so that's all that the Supreme Court did. It's not as if the court is on a war path with Parliament. No. And then also let's mention that when you read constitutional history, American constitutional history, British constitutional history, from time to time, such tangos are bound to happen. It's just like marriage. I'm here to meet a married man. I mean, there will be very few who can say that he's not fought with his wife. When I say fought, like quarrel, not physical fights. It's against the law to hate your partner, right? So, but there will be very few who can say that since they got married, they've not, had differences with their wives. It's there. Look, you read American history. The time FDR came with his New Deal. Before then, there was a deal. Right. The Supreme Court was striking down FDR's deals. Then later on, they came on board. And see how FDR, that's Franklin Roosevelt, how his deals suddenly helped to change America, helped to spare their economic development.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, let's take a look at this. And just brief comments on this matter so that we move on to the next. Honorable Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa. The considerations that Parliament took into effect in passing these amendments. It says an act to amend the Narcotics Control Commission Act 2020 to insert Section 43 to empower the minister to grant the license for the cultivation of cannabis. Mr. Ablakwa.
Yes, the amendment was a simple one, a one-item amendment, Section 43, which the Supreme Court had earlier struck out.
There's a little challenge with your microphone. We'll check it right now. Honorable Abebe Idris, a quick one on this. Just quick one. Briefly,
I think I will also just start from where Sami was ending. The fact that it was not a serious amendment. And then I think normally, I think the Speaker made it clear that when Parliament is seeking to do certain things and it goes to court, at least Parliament should also be a party. Because we were of the view that if actually Parliament was represented on their own, our lawyers could be able to make our case. But the Attorney General had to make the case based on his own understanding.